9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Monday, June 15th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Nolan Webster and by real estate broker Ed Dream at leavingil.com. It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
It has never been lower. I don't just mean the quality of life in every Democrat-run hellhole ghetto that used to be a great city such as our own. The viewership of the Sunday shows has never been lower. Over the last 6 months, they've lost millions of views across the board in age groups, and there's a good reason. They suck. Illinois lawmakers now make $128,000 a year when the Illinois citizen averages $43,000. Congratulations, you're a Soviet state in America. We'll discuss that and so much more after Mike Scott.
Mostly cloudy for the afternoon, a high near 73. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Iran reportedly calling off talks with the U.S., planning to completely block the Strait of Hormuz. Here's Fox's Jeff Pohl.
U.S. CENTCOM says the measured and deliberate strikes were in response to Iran shooting down a U.S. drone that was operating in international waters. The back-and-forth strikes occurring as a fragile ceasefire between the two countries remains in place, at least for now.
Illinois lawmakers scrambling last night into Monday morning in the final minutes of the legislative session to pass a $56 billion budget. Speaking just outside of the Senate floor this morning, State Senator Jason Plummer.
Out-of-control property taxes, out-of-control taxation in general, and a sluggish economic environment. What we did today is only going to make those problems even worse.
Democrats rammed through a deal also to use a $150 million surplus from the sales tax on gasoline caused by increased prices at the pump to plug other budget holes. White Sox and Twins tonight, Cubs and A's tomorrow. The News, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com. Northwest Indiana's leading home builder, Steiner Homes. Love where you live. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Anthropic says it's filed confidentially for an IPO and could go public as soon as this fall. Just last week, the AI lab behind large language model Claude overtaking OpenAI to become the world's most valuable AI startup, receiving a $965 billion valuation. Wall Street big gainers include MongoDB amid increased interest in its database solutions. MGM Resort stocks soaring after Barry Diller's firm People Inc. offered to buy the rest of the casino giant. ARM Holdings shares flying high after NVIDIA announced that it will use a design from the semiconductor company for its new PC chip, RTX Spark. Wall Street ending Monday on a high note. The Dow ending up 46, S&P up 20, NASDAQ up 114. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
Scott Jennings sees the president holding strong.
The U.S. says the ceasefire remains in place, but there has been some firing. The U.S. sank 2 Revolutionary Guard ships that it said were laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. So we wait and we watch, and the principal message from the White House remains: no nukes for Iran and no bad deals for the sake of doing them.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
You ever been in a really bad relationship? Kind of wears you down, right? You settle in even though deep down you know this is not the way it's supposed to be. That's what daily aches and pains feel like. You stop expecting to feel good. You start thinking, maybe this is just life now. But it doesn't have to be. With Relief Factor, you can break up with pain, just like Anthony did. Anthony wrote to me, he said, Glenn, I was dealing with debilitating pain and fatigue. I've been taking Relief Factor for about 2 months, and now I'm back to running my business, fishing, gardening, and doing all the things that actually matter to me. This is why I endorse Relief Factor. It has helped me, and I know it's helping so many in this audience live their lives to the full potential. Is it your turn? Relief Factor, 100% drug-free, targets inflammation that causes pain so you can move better, feel better, and actually enjoy life again. Try the 3-week quick start. It's $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Break up with pain and get back to what matters. relieffactor.com, 800-4RELIEF.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, it's wide open Montrose to Lake Cook Road, the Kennedy out just under an hour from the Jameburn interchange to O'Hare with tie-ups in those express lanes right around Ohio to Keeler. Eisenhower 40 to Wolf Road, 1 hour out to 390 and an accident inbound Stevenson at County Line Road. It's an hour going in the reverse, also 1 hour. Dan Ryan 28 minutes out to 95th, tighten the express lanes. Pershing to the Skyway and do Saba Lakeshore Drive heavy along with the Tri-State in both directions. Jane Addams is clear. Eastbound Reagan, that is tight. Southbound 355 busy and eastbound 8094. Stop and go Tri-State to Kennedy Avenue from an earlier accident. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and the Shaun Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 54. Tuesday will bring radiant sunshine and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to be outside with a high of 75. Tuesday night will feature a crystal clear sky with a low of 53. Wednesday is expected to be mostly sunny and warm with a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
I've said it before, that little promo that was put together by the people at the radio station, the program director and the suits. And that was put together after our knowing each other period, talking to people I knew and different businesses. I'm very proud of that promo, especially the part that says, I earned every dollar I ever made. And the reason I am is there's a difference when somebody like me or you who goes to work and dinner tab comes and we say, I got the tab. We pay for our wife, our girlfriend, our family, whoever you're buying dinner for, your brother, your sister. See, we take our money and buy the dinner. You know why I used to love to slap the taste out of the mouth of half-ass gangsters all my life? Because they never had any money. They just had dirty pockets of other people's money, but they never made any money. They were scumbags, thieves, half-ass gamblers and roaches. It's like when you see a Chicago cockroach walking around with a Louis Vuitton purse and they're on welfare. They don't have any frickin' money. They can never provide for their kids and their wife. Like Brandon Johnson, who could never pay the water bill. Not really a man, not really any character. But when you look at these sloths that make up the Illinois state politicians, they had the balls to give themselves a raise. Do you know that these imbeciles, these good for nothing state reps, these imbeciles, these step and fetch, they work 70 days a year. That's their average. That they get out of their fracking girlfriend's bed after they're done kissing their wife goodbye in the morning. And by the way, when I say girlfriend, I'm talking about Democrats. The Republicans are in bed with other fellas in the Forest Preserve. And they go to Springfield, and they sit around and they play tiddlywinks, and they twiddle each other's thumbs. These sloths, morons, what they did to our state. And they make $128,000 a year. The 101, $405 is what they admit to giving themselves a raise. These simpleton bastards get paid a per diem, which means on those rare occasions they actually have to go to frickin' work. They get another stipend on top of it, and they get gas money. They have never paid for anything, you bums. And you can't pass anything. You can't do. All you do is raise everybody's taxes, and you give yourself a raise. Now, I did some little research because the quality of life, if you look, everywhere is a fracking ghetto. And the idea that people in Glencoe and Winnetka, you don't count your trust fund babies. You didn't work for jack. The strippers, who are your third wives, they work. But the bulk of you don't work. But the real people in Illinois who work, household income, squirrel, you know what that is? Household income in Illinois, $83,390. Now you'd say, son of a bitch. That would mean that the average household income is, give or take, about 50% of the household income. You put it on top of the $83,000, and now you're at $28,000 a year, which means the household has to get a 50% raise. Do you know how many people work in a household? You know how they come to that number? 2.4. Where's the 0.4 come from? That's when you got a simpleton offspring kid who's a Democrat, can't get out of bed, can't zip his own frickin' pants, and get a job above minimum wage. That's the 0.4. 2.4 in Illinois, the household is $83,390. And these stupid, low-producing morons who are your representatives make $128. Now, the average guy who goes to work and busts his ass and provides for his household, you know what he makes? A third. $43,000 a year, which means the people of Illinois are Soviets, where the Politburo not only makes all the frackin' rules and tells you what you owe them, they make 3 times what you make. So right here with the Bears and the stadium and you low-life pigs pretending you pay your own bills or pick up checks, and that's outside the money you shake down decent businesses for. The scum in Illinois, ironically enough, is not the cartel gang-banging, degenerate, murdering rat pig. He's the next up on the ring. The scum in Illinois is the sloth politician who would have the balls to, in this kind of collapse of non-performance, of taxing everybody from their assets, have the balls to give themselves, the useless sloths, a raise.
Can you believe this? Right just moments ago, within the last hour or so, that's right. The General Assembly adjourned without a final answer, but promising to continue the discussion this summer. No special session called just yet.
Hey, McCaskies. Hey, right here. Hey, Bears players. Right here. Hey, all you suck-ons with your jerseys on with somebody else's names. Hey, morons. They're using this to steal the public wealth and the money of all your grandfathers, you fracking idiots. Who gives a rip about the Bears?
Though the Senate passed its version of a Bears bill that could benefit not only Arlington Heights, but perhaps Chicago.
None of it benefits you. None of it. Unless you pay what? The 4 hoops to go to a game and cheer for somebody else's kid like a bunch of simpletons. Hey, let's go to another simpleton. A Democrat all of her life. All of a sudden, she's Ronald Reagan. Looks more like Liberace, though, huh, Maria?
There are 1.8 million homeowners in Cook County. And before anybody signs off on a bill that gives the Bears $1.5 billion tax break over the next 40 years, I don't know if either one of us are going to be around 40 years from now in Chicago.
You look like you're 128. I think you could make it to 168. Looks like the poltergeist reverend with longer hair.
Chicago watching the Bears play, but be that as it may, how much benefit is there to each of these 1.8 million taxpayers? And
did you just figure this out at 100 years old? Did you just, Maria, this is another position. Completely automate the positions. They're good for nothing except entertainment. And when they make it to the big leagues, ooh, the Sunday shows. It would explain why viewership across the board, all demographics from little tiny babies who are still too smart to buy Brandon Johnson, all the way up to old Democrats who are pulling a Biden in their trousers. Nobody watches these idiots.
I'm out of time, but before we go, I want to note that this past Memorial Day.
This is a Sunday. This is Al fracking Sharpton, the reverend who agreed on film to sell some weight, baby. He was going to move 30 keys a week, weren't you, scumbag, reverend of your ass?
Day weekend was reportedly Chicago's first without any homicide. What are the...
Whoa. Homicide? There was a lot of homicide. If you're talking about homicide, that's totally different, Reverend illiterate buffoon.
Directives from your office that are resulting in the city's violence being trending down.
Yeah, you know, in Elmwood Park, we used to have a homicide as a mayor. He's in the Forest Preserve.
Thank you, Reverend Al. This is the top priority of my administration, and building the safest, most affordable big city in America. That's my vision.
How's it going for you? You loving it? Another successful weekend of countless people shot and murdered and raped and mayhem. And these two simpletons are going to celebrate. By the way, somebody might want to tell Al Sharpton. 2 people died out of the 39 that were shot. You stupid simpleton moron. But don't worry. Nobody saw it. And they didn't see the other main stations. Meet the Press. Andy Bashir is their big idea of a Democrat who can relate to the real people. Why? Because he's a failed Democrat in Kentucky? Here's this simpleton.
I want to ask you about one of the big headlines for Democrats this week. Former First Lady Jill Biden speaking out, weighing in on that disastrous debate performance by former President Joe Biden back in 2024. Take a look at what she said.
Were you horrified as you saw it unfold?
I wasn't horrified. I was frightened because I had never, ever seen Joe like that before or since. Never.
Or since?
Yes. Or
You've
since.
never seen him like
never.
that?
No.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it.
It's an anomaly. It was a one-time. Get the frack out of here. Do you not remember him on 60 Minutes? Another show with its lowest viewership in history. This is 3 years ago.
Mr. President, as you know, last Tuesday, the annual inflation rate came in at 8.3%. The stock market nosedived.
Oh, my God.
People are shocked by their grocery bill.
And the citizens and the innocent people are being killed. It's just...
By the way, this is the one that was unedited. You see, 60 Minutes and these Sunday shows, when they're not live, we're editing. The fact that we had a simpleton who not only stole an election, was caught on tape confessing as a vice president for the asset of the most corrupt country outside of Chicago called Ukraine. They were editing this simpleton since he was Barack Obama's vice president. This is the unedited 60 Minutes with Scott Pelling.
Outrageous.
Is the economy going to get worse before it gets better?
Yes. Huh? The damage it's doing and the... No.
Are you out of your fracking mind? Nobody is running the country. And Scott Pelling today says 60 Minutes declares Barry Weiss, whatever, is murdering the show. 60 Minutes has kissed and sucked ass for 30 years. 30 years. Do you not remember Leslie Stahl? Another useless old hag. Do you guys have a 401k plan? What the hell are you doing with all these Geritol morons?
Him walk out of a store, and he's walking with an ice cream. And the question the media asked him, what kind of ice cream, what flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking... Of course he is,
No,
Leslie.
come on.
Of course he is. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal.
So,
the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign,
there's
Leslie.
no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place.
See, Leslie Stahl isn't a reporter. She's a propaganda fluffer. And a fluffer in propaganda is the only place this old hag could be a fluffer. Everywhere else, she softens wood.
Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because...
60 Minutes sucks. The Sunday shows suck. And Reverend Al Sharpton not only is not a reverend, he agreed to move cocaine. Kilos of it. He got a raise. And his liability for tax evasion, that was squashed too. And all the fluffers of propaganda called the media, they ate it up. 312-642-5600.
Show some RESPICT.
He's Shaun Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
And this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
The Matrix is Penny Mustard's most popular TV stand.
No way. It's a computer-generated simulation.
How do you know?
Look closely at the Matrix. See all the pixels?
Those aren't pixels.
That's wood grain.
The Matrix TV stand is handcrafted from solid wood.
Built to your specifications and TV size.
Yeah, right. That's what they want you to believe.
Come see the totally real and wildly popular Matrix TV stand, starting at $28.44 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
I make $128,000 a year. You suck. You don't make anything, you feckless fraud. You steal money from Illinois taxpayers. You steal the money, you get all dolled up in your suit, and you work 70 days a year. 70 days a year. You know what that is, Squirrel? It's just under $1,900 a day. These sloths financially rape the Illinoisan.
Senator Bill Cunningham explained why this version of the bill passed the Senate rather than what was approved in the House.
This bill will put in place a framework that will help keep the Chicago Bears in Illinois.
Oh, good. Hey, Bill, right here with the Chicago Bears, you thief. You're stealing $128,000 a year every frickin' year with a kicker at the end. Scum of the earth. He's a Democrat. He's bald, ugly. God's got a sense of humor. $128,000. Spend some on surgery. Jim, Lake County.
Hey, namaste, Shaun. Namaste.
Namaste. These rat pigs stealing money. You know how many guys are busting their ass to pay the electric bill? Go to Bill's house and take it out of his suit pocket. Go ahead.
All right, that was pretty loud of you, but good.
Go ahead.
Karen Bass, the lovely Karen Bass, when she was off on her vacation in Ghana and California was burning, empty reservoirs, fire department needing equipment, and she left her, he had a mayor substitute, and his name is Brian K. Williams, and he was under house arrest for calling in a bomb threat to City Hall. That's who she left in charge of California while she was off dancing in Ghana.
Wait, but you didn't hear they had a murderer on the payroll? You didn't hear this?
No, I didn't know that either.
Here, this is Saturday. Here.
A convicted murderer on the City of LA's payroll working as a peace ambassador has been arrested. Federal agents say the man was caught with body armor and allegedly admitted he was still an active gang member.
Scum, listen to me. Listen, say it with me. Scum of the world are Democrats. Scum. Go ahead.
Hey, and know what his punishment was, this Brian K. Williams?
I know what it would have been in my neighborhood.
Well, in many neighborhoods, but there in California, his sentence was 50 hours of community service and a $5,000 fine.
That's what the government does when the government is the Soviets. They protect the scum that terrorize the people. It's the Soviet Union. In every one of these Democrat areas, you really think that these imbeciles buy their bull dung? Oh, we're going to deliver utopia if only we could control your property and steal your income so we could pay ourselves double, triple what you make. It's an illusion, brother. They don't believe a word of that garbage. And we've got 100 years to prove that all it delivers is ghettos. And in the meantime, it's the simpletons that are so broken mentally because they can't pay their electric bill that they even entertain these imbecile Democrats. And when you're a real scumbag, well, those are your people. After all, they give you a job. They legitimize you. Last year, you were a murdering, filthy pig scumbag. You still are, but now you got a city payroll check.
Investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us live from the newsroom with the latest. Eric.
Well, federal prosecutors shared the information about the arrest earlier today and highlighted this man's employment with a nonprofit that's being paid by the city of L.A. for its ambassadors.
See, that's the laundry system. That's how you wash the money. And you make taxpayer money almost look like this low-life murdering, degenerate, gangbanger Democrat has a job. He has no job. Any more than an Illinois state rep has a job. They have no job. And the best part is, they'll just come up with a way to distract you. Oh, the Bears! Gives a
And it does that by creating the Municipal Stadium Act, which enables any home rule municipality in Cook County with a population of at least 70,000 residents to establish a stadium authority that can own.
Stealing money! It's the same wherever Democrats are. Here's Seattle. Seattle, I love this ugly girl. She's the best. She says, forget about it. The money is there to be stolen, which is why that whole thing in Minnesota, that is not a scandal. That is the business plan. And it's in across the board. And it thrives where Democrats live, where they govern.
This whole issue is not really about fraud, right? It's about dividing and conquering. It's about making an immigrant community a target.
The socialist mayor of Seattle, Katie Wilson, is refusing to investigate nearly $40 million in Somali migrant daycare fraud that was flagged by a state audit because it's racist against migrants. Wilson saying, quote,
more Islamo-Nazi pirates stealing another $40 million. And they knew, Democrats, from Tim Walz to this Katie dog-faced pig, mayor of Seattle, across the board to Brandon Johnson with his faux hawk and his $6,500 suit he didn't buy. They know the money is stolen. Whether it's your violence interrupters, whether it's this scam for the weak and the useless, it's across the board.
Now will audit all 50 American states looking for potentially massive fraud in the billing of autism treatment. This is happening now amid a recent explosion in spending on autism services. North Carolina alone apparently saw an 11,000% increase in the last 4 years.
Only, are you listening to me, Squirrel? Only in Democrat counties. Is that fracking great? What they didn't account for is Donald Trump. And by the way, the Republicans, they are in on it too. Believe me, they are. They didn't account for Donald Trump. And they didn't account for him saying exactly what every representative in this government should say when they even think there's fraud. There will be no more money for you.
Why was that? Good question for Alexandria Hoff, live in D.C. Alex, hello. Good morning.
Hey, Bill, yeah, it is a good question because according to that data coming out of North Carolina, the use of taxpayer-funded autism services is significantly outpacing the number of children being diagnosed. So something...
Details. Same scam in Minnesota. And here's another scam that you heard all your life in these union mafia areas. How you doing? You're feather bedding. You put on your moron daily cousin with a cork on his fork so he doesn't poke himself in the eye during dinner and breakfast. And then you lie because you're Democrat. All you ever can do is lie, cheat, and steal.
Breaking news and new at 6. More MassDOT employees now on leave as the probe widens into the overtime scandal exposed by 25 Investigates. Our team broke this story of the apparent billing discrepancies last week. It sparked outrage from taxpayers all the way up to the governor's office. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel explains the new developments happening behind the scenes.
So they get a job, cushy-ass job, never work a day in their fragging life anyway. And then they pretend that they're putting in overtime. That's why when you drive through the city, all you see are traffic cones. All you see are traffic cones built like the Democrat men, real narrow at the neck and wide at the ass. All the traffic cones, no workers. And everybody's making overtime. That's why they don't squawk when the Illinois state rep gives himself $1,900 every day. He has to drive his ass to Springfield, get drunk on somebody else's expense account, and find a new side broad, you hope. Otherwise, it's some guy in a forest preserve with his underwear in his mouth. 312-642-5600.
15 paychecks, only one guy doing the job. Now that's union, baby.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that,
he's become an enemy of the state.
He's Shaun Thompson, and this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, it's Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. When people call us, they're not just selling a house. They're usually dealing with something bigger. A major life change, a family transition, or an overwhelming situation. We recently helped a family in Aurora. Mom needed memory care, and her kids were trying to coordinate everything from out of town. The house was full of 40 years of belongings, and they were completely overwhelmed. They told us they didn't have the time or energy for repairs and a major clean-out. We bought the house as is and gave them the time they needed to take what mattered. Family photos, heirlooms, whatever they wanted. And we handled the rest. After closing, they sent us a note. You gave us time to grieve, not just sell a house. Since 2007, our veteran-led team has helped hundreds of Chicagoland families through difficult transitions with no pressure and no gimmicks. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com. That's jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
312-642-5600. I'll take your calls and comments when I get back. Now, Squirrel, you said something into my ear, but you know how after a segment, my voice is in my head along with some music are ringing. And what you want me to do is read a Donley auction commercial. I would be more than happy to read a Donley auction commercial. 815-923-7000. If you saw the last auction, you understand how Randy Donley and the people at Donley Auctions for 50 years have been bringing the highest price for items you would find in your basement, in your garage, in your attic. Items you may have been left in a will that you have no idea you thought your aunt was wasting your time and she left you a license plate worth $30,000. But you won't know unless you call 815-923-7000 or go online to DonleyAuctions.com. Now, if you went out there the way you should have when he has an auction, you understand it's a museum. Anything from advertising to clothing to memorabilia that makes you proud of America, and most importantly, weapons, handguns, shotguns, rifles, cannons, all available at Donley Auction. For he's a federal and state licensed arms dealer. Check it out for yourself. Go to DonleyAuctions.com. And when they open the doors in Union, Illinois, take a ride. It's like you're not even around the Democrats that ruined Chicago or O'Hare or the roads where you see nothing but cones built like Democrat men and no workers. In Union, Illinois, those are the good people of Illinois. I highly recommend it. 815-923-7000 for any question you may have. Nicest people in the world. Take advantage of 50 years of high-producing success at Donley Auctions. When we get back, 312-642-5600 after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. A high of 73 today and cooler by the lake. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, Iran is reportedly calling off talks with the U.S. and plans to completely block the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian state media says it's all due to ceasefire violations by the U.S. A man and woman were shot and killed early this morning in Bellwood. Police say they responded to reports of shots fired just after 1:30 a.m. in the 1100 block of 32nd Avenue. Illinois lawmakers scrambling Sunday night into Monday morning in their final minutes of the legislative session. Majority Democrats in the Senate and House passed a $56 billion budget. State Representative Adam Niemerg met with reporters early in the morning.
Instead of working for tax breaks for working class families, they passed a bill to keep cannabis stores, pot stores up till 2 in the morning.
Also this morning, the House officially adjourned before taking a vote on the newest version of a mega project's Bears Stadium bill. The News is a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions. Go to surroundchicago.com today. Your next news is at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. Up next, a look from the AM 560 Traffic Center and Jill Urchak.
There is an accident northbound Route 53 just past Dundee, so heads up for that. Elsewhere, on the Edens going out, it's okay. The Kennedy inbound, that has an accident at North Avenue. Off to the left shoulder, it is an hour and 10 going in. And the outbound Kennedy, 55 minutes out to O'Hare. You'll see tie-ups in the express lanes, Ohio to Keeler. Outbound Eisenhower, an hour and 5. Post Office to 390. Stevenson, 45 minutes out to the Tri-State and 1 hour to get to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Outbound Ryan, 30 minutes. Express lane snug, 43rd out to the Skyway. On the Bishop Ford outbound, that slows 130th to Bobian Woods. Very heavy along the Tri-State and DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way. The Reagan eastbound is snug, but southbound 355 also showing delays as well. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 54. On Tuesday, expect radiant sunshine and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to be outside with a high of 75. Tuesday night will bring a crystal clear sky with a low of 53. Wednesday will be mostly sunny and warm with a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
My name is Dr. Michael Huber, co-founder of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Virago has earned its place in your medicine cabinet. It's your proven go-to for the flu, colds, and COVID. But you already know that part of the story. But today I want to tell you that if you're suffering from diabetes, hypertension, or autoimmune diseases, we want you to know that they share one common thread. They are inflammation machines. And that inflammation assaults your heart, your brain, and your kidneys 24/7. It's a silent, constant attack on your vital organs, wearing them down every single day. Taking Virago every day shields your heart, protects your kidneys, and guards your brain from chronic inflammation. Virago, the new protective standard in immunity.
Order your bottle of Virago online today at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Sports memorabilia, movie posters, rock and roll, get top dollar for your collection. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Haven't watched them in 20 years. Will never, ever watch any of it again. Bunch of steroid freaks anyway. You know what else I heard, Squirrel? Somebody was telling me you can't hit quarterbacks anymore. When did that change? Tell Jack Lambert he can't hit the quarterback. He wanted to chew his frickin' face off. Not like today.
You deny that you got $2 million from health care? I can go down the list here.
Mr. Secretary, that
Emden
is
gave
not...
you $140,000.
Mr. Secretary, it is my time.
Pfizer gave you $102,000.
Madam Chair, I am asking to be able to ask a question here. I do
I'm
not
just pointing out your record.
By,
Someone from the healthcare industry gives you $2 million. What do they get for it?
What
do you
I
give
do
them?
not oversee the I do not regulate.
You have jurisdiction.
I do not regulate.
You have jurisdiction.
I do not
$2 million
regulate the
to put your face on TV, to buy steak dinners,
Mr. Secretary, listen,
to go on vacation.
Listen to my point
That's what
here.
you do. Welcome to MAGA. Welcome to Drill Baby Drill.
That was that Senator Pat Murray, Squirrel. Did you ever see her? She looks like a transgendering Dutch boy. She's got the most ridiculous fracking hairdo that this hag sticks with it. And she's stolen and been used as a bag man for millions of dollars. And Shaun Duffy calls it out. It's a new game in town. No more are we going to go back to the Jeb Bushes.
Please clap.
Fracking scum thief. Jeb Bush, his father Bush, Marvin Bush. Ooh, Marvin. Neil Bush. All scum. And you know who loved them, Squirrel? The vice president that they stuck with Donald Trump the first time around. That simpleton moron.
Well, you talk about the case for conservative principles, and I'm going to read some of your book in just a moment. But you also talk about the importance of character, that character matters in public service. Ken Paxton was indicted on security fraud charges in 2015. He was impeached by members of his own party over alleged.
Did you know he was exonerated from this? Did you know that? She left that out. And do you know what's funny about character when you talk to Mike Pence? Character to cover up the fraud of the establishment Republicans. That's what Mike Pence says. That's the lack of character. Mike Pence not only has felt for hair and looks like Clutch Cargo's father, he has zero character, you fracking fraud. You think people are buying it? You only go to lunch with your wife. Who the hell else is going to go with you?
Alleged bribery in 2023. His wife filed for
Lucky
divorce
I don't go to lunch with your wife.
in 2025 after accusing him of adultery. Bottom line, Mr. Vice President, do you support Ken Paxton?
Well, I could never, if I was voting in Texas, I could never vote for the Democrat nominee, Teller.
Who gives a rip who these Jeb Bush establishment scum that were stealing money a little quieter than the Democrats vote for? I certainly don't. Mark, Oak Lawn.
Shaun, thanks for taking my call. How are you?
Wonderful, babe.
Hey, I've got I heard these talking heads on these sports radio shows. Oh, they're talking about J.B. Pritzker's bringing everything together with the Bears Stadium, and they're talking about his legacy. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to call Shaun's show and give J.B.'s legacy. You know, I've got 4 points for you, Shaun, and you know them all. I think one of the big ones is the Superior Bank 2001. $640 million.
Well, that's
bankruptcy.
that's his. In all fairness to this fat pig, butter-handed pansy who couldn't do a push-up. No, that's his sister. Specifically.
Yeah, it's his sister. I get it, but you know, I'm sure he had a hand in it. And,
the Commerce Department head for Barack Obama, who robbed people who were too stupid to read what a mortgage was, have no idea, were given money they didn't deserve. She collapsed the bank, and her punishment for this financial crime and fraud on the economic illiterate was she became the Commerce Secretary of America. All right, go ahead.
Second point, delinquency. You know, the state of Illinois, it's a Ponzi scheme. You know, you got $138 billion. That's the teacher's pension. It's not even considered a liability. It's considered an asset, these clowns. And thirdly, taking the toilets out of his second home. You know, like you said, I want to see a tape of that. I want to see him on camera doing that.
Yeah, are you nuts? He can't turn a wrench. Fat pig.
Yeah. Shaun, last point. Let's give him kudos for Illinois being the abortion capital destination in the United States. You know,
the highest price property tax in the country is Illinois. That's the new figure. The highest out of 50 states. Economic illiteracy is what put that fat slob in office, and it's what keeps Democrats in office. The people are in on it.
Remember, he's bringing the Bears to Illinois. Oh, God bless JB.
Listen, you want to know what's funny? Right, we all of us together, whether you watch sports or not sports. How did you grow up? What do we do? From dusk till dawn, everything from dawn to dusk. Every time we woke up as kids, what do? We played 55 different sports, punch each other in the face 1,000 times.
We did.
Do you think this fat pig ever? Do you think he could run a block? I'm serious. You think he ever did? His whole life, slaves waiting on his big, fat, dimply ass. Never did anything in the world. And he could only get elected where the people are self-loathing, self-righteous, self-enriching Democrat scum who wants something for nothing. He's exactly where he should be, and that's the only state that would vote for that sloth. Glenn in Orlando.
Shaun, yeah. Mike Pence, his name is Judas 2.0. So,
I don't know. He was always a squirrely scum. I don't know if I'm going to go with that. He was always, and you know something? There's something weird. A little askew, something a little freaky about him. I say he spends Saturday afternoons in a box with a red ball in his mouth, waiting for his wife to blow a whistle. Bring out the gimp! Go ahead.
I don't think it's his wife, but anyway, can you imagine how much less in taxes we would pay if we got rid of all the fraud and the quality of life?
I don't have to imagine
everybody
it.
If we got rid of all this fraud.
I don't have to imagine it. I live in Florida. It would be like this. It would be just like this. And they would talk about lowering property taxes, and there would be zero income tax, and there wouldn't be a Democrat in eyesight no matter where you go, which means just don't go into Democrat counties. Miami's rough. A lot of Democrats. You could tell they're laying on the sidewalk with a needle hanging out of their arm. Glenn, Oak Creek, Wisconsin.
Hi, Shaun. I just wanted to say quick, of course, like when I listen to you, 1,000 things go through my head, but how I started listening to talk radio, I was traveling the state in sales, and they were giving Sarah Palin a hard time when it was just ridiculous, and that's when I started thinking, man, there's really corrupt and real butthead people with their way they talk about people and stuff, and anyway, that's how I got into it. But my question is, go ahead.
Do you know when Sarah Palin was picked by that simpleton McCain, who was beyond weight? Do you know that she had an 80% approval rating in her state as a two-term? 80%. She was loved.
I didn't know that high.
Yeah, nobody knows. And that was the character assassination of fluffers of government corruption like Leslie Stahl and every simpleton roach on media. On network news. Every one of them attacked her. She's stupid. Oh, is she stupid? Because as governor, she not only did she have an 80% approval rating, she balanced the budget every year. She ran that entire state more iron tight than any Democrat scum has ever run a state, ever. And she's stupid. You know who's stupid? Every single college graduate who still voted for Kamala Harris knowing she only got there because she liked old balls, and she wasn't good at anything. She liked Willie Brown, and that's it. Go ahead.
You know what's crazy, too, is almost like with Trump with the Russia. With her, it was, I can see Russia from my back porch or whatever, which it was out of context. That's not really what, they may have, like, she really believed that. And the people that are kind of stupid believe she said that.
It's time, Glenn. It's time for the county secession. County secession. Not states anymore. Counties. Bring them down to the little fiefdoms that they've already destroyed. Bring them down. And by the way, they'll like it there. They know how to get promotions and government jobs. The same way the office tramp did.
He's a rogue, all right. Notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women, and fast cars.
That's the future presidential candidate, and all she had to do was fluff them. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Shaun Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith doors and security systems company since 1981.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
AM 560.
The answer.
Kick it!
They offset the raising prices, not just gas. They don't pay for gas. They don't pay for gas. They give themselves a 3.5% raise, they say, and they leave off the fact that they get a per diem and the stipend. $128,000 a year to work 70 days a year. And how many Illinoisans right now are struggling trying to pay the fracking taxes? Are you out of your mind? Pfft, I'd burn the house down. Scott, Mundelein.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, babe?
Well, I'm going to ask everybody in Illinois to look at their property tax bill, and they'll find out that half of that money that they're writing that check for is going to pensions. Now, I was born in Detroit, and when Detroit went bankrupt, all the government employees that were on a tax
payer pension
retirement program it's gone. They're going to decide if it's a liability, and they are. It's gone. They're wiped out. So why can't they make government employees do a 401k
like the rest of us?
Because that would make them like the rest of us, Scott, brother. And if you, I mean, I know you know this. They are not like the rest of us. They are immune to reality. And when you look at which is why they can root against American success. Think of it that way. If they were like the rest of us, they would be understanding the benefits to the private economy that the private economy has not seen in decades. They would see the growth and they would see the success of the economy. They can't do that. They can't do that. So they have this fake economy that exists on everybody else being too poor to be able to afford to move. That's the other thing. Once they get you where you can't move, now you're handcuffed. Now you're just in for a penny, in for a pound.
Well, I'm what was I going to say? But yeah, the 401k and everything. I forgot what I was going to say.
Don't worry about it. We're going to be here tomorrow. You call back. Come on. I like it. You're a good caller anytime. Because the way that people have to understand, and you've explained it to a certain extent, they are not attached to the real economy. There is no real, which is why.
I know what I was going to say.
Okay, go.
I look forward to Illinois going bankrupt just so I can see their faces when they realize they screwed themselves over.
Well, but when you look at the numbers, they're already bankrupt. They don't exist on financial reality. They exist on frauding Medicare, Social Security, and unemployment benefits from the federal government. The federal government gives a tremendous.
Up to them, though.
Well,
it will catch up to them. It caught up to Detroit.
But here, Scott, when these guys give themselves a raise and they say it's $104,000, but it's $128,000, and they retire,
for
they
a
get
part-time job
for 70 days a year. They get 80% compounded growth, cost of living, 3% a year. So by the time it's 10 years, they're making more than they made when they worked, and it's forever. Why would they ever go to a 401k system? You couldn't get one to do that ever. So that's what people have to understand, Scott. And when you really understand it, you can no longer live there. You can't unless you're in on it. If you're in on it, then you're in on it.
I always stay here for my grandsons.
Now you come down here. We'll fly everybody. We'll fly all families. We'll get family junkets. By the time we get enough people here, believe me, it'll be cheaper than Spirit used to be, Scott. Thank you for the call. Linda Palis.
Shaun, I just had to call you and say how grateful I am that our legislators worked tirelessly through the night for 20 hours to give themselves a blinking raise. I am just so disturbed.
First of all, did you ever see those chairs? Did you ever see them? They tell you they work 20 hours. I drove 22 hours. So what? So what? You got to do your job. You do your frickin' job. You want to be applauded for it? And these are the sloths that work 70 days a year and want to justify 128. Now, be quiet now, Linda. We got to talk about the Bears. The McCaskies need a stadium right here, you rat bastard. I never liked the McCaskies either. Ugh.
In their bill, they also passed free tuition for in-state illegal immigrants.
Well, you got to have that. Who's going to rob you, Linda?
Yeah. It's not a head scratcher. I live in Illinois. Okay, that's
call Goldilocks.
Thanks for listening.
Secure the property. Are you nuts? Tom, Tinley Park.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to weigh in on pensions. Now, I worked for close to 43 years for a private contractor. Fortunately, everything was good with my pension. Nobody dipped their fingers into it this way and that and used it for other ominous things. But I will say this, in my years of working, I've worked in and around a lot of these people that, had one pension, they retired early, then they got into another entity in one way, shape, or form and got another pension, and some are even getting three. Now, in this day and age of AI, and I would say all these people need to get called out and say, pick your pension, A, B, C, or D. You're only getting one.
Do you know what's fascinating,
That would save
Tom?
a lot of money.
Do you know what's fascinating? I couldn't agree. I agree. But you know what's fascinating? I don't really go after the worker because it was set up by the government, by these sloths who are representatives, and the government knowing what it would do. You build a foot soldier mafia, a foot soldier army. It's not really their fault. The pension existed. I had a guy in my cigar store, great guy. And he was on two pensions. He went back to school. They paid for the school and all this stuff. And he would say to me, I didn't do this. They said to me, go get this other job and we'll give you this and that and that. They build an infrastructure the way the Soviet Union tried to implement one. The problem is, economically, it's fraud because they're calling it a pension when it's a mafia employment agreement. You and I and Squirrel, we have 401ks and you could have pensions and the rest of it. That is not based on any return on investment. That is a financial crime. Now, there's the culpability. Well, you're not entitled to non-economic realities. So that's the problem I have.
Right. Well, it's a starting point, though. You know what I'm saying, Shaun? It's a
Tom,
starting
I couldn't
point.
agree more with
you.
you
know what? Guess what? Here's the cutoff point. You get one, and just think of all the money it would save.
We could start with the Daily Cousins that retired from jobs they didn't even know they had. Let's start with the ghost jobs. Thank you very much, Tom. We went long. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way and affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 30% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com, 800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
What a perfect time to have the public engagement manager at the Illinois Policy Institute. You see, what else is hidden besides a raise for these political part-time sloths of $128,000 a year per sloth is $800 million in tax increases. Well, someone's got to pay for it. We'll talk about the specificity of those tax increases with Dylan Sharp after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. Cloudy, a high near 73. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Iran reportedly calling off talks with the U.S., planning to completely block the Strait of Hormuz. Fox's Alexandria Hoff has more from the White House.
President Trump sharing with Fox that the agreement so far has actually gone beyond that.
They originally said, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, well, what happens if you buy a nuclear weapon? So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase a military weapon. That's a big difference.
The president maintained if Iran's attitude changes, full-scale strikes will be carried out.
Illinois lawmakers scrambling Sunday night into Monday morning to pass a $56 billion Illinois state budget in Springfield. The budget did not include a mega projects or Bears stadium bill for now. An undocumented immigrant who illegally entered the United States, accused of killing a Loyola University college student, is facing new charges. The Cook County Sheriff's Office says Jose Medina was discovered in prison with a shank, an edged weapon. White Sox and Twins battle tonight, Cubs and A's tomorrow. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Wall Street ending the opening day of June on an upswing. With the unveiling of NVIDIA's new AI chip, RTX Spark, it says is the most efficient PC chip in history. The Dow rising 46 points, S&P gaining 20, NASDAQ climbing 114. All three indexes closing Monday in record territory. NASDAQ closing above 27,000 for its first time ever. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise stock skyrocketing after Monday's closing bell. The PC giant reporting its highest quarterly earnings since February of 2018. MongoDB, ARM Holdings, and MGM Resorts among Wall Street's big winners Monday, while Qualcomm, Cboe Global Markets, and Constellation Energy among the big losers. JetBlue also falling Monday. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
You ever been in a really bad relationship? Kind of wears you down, right? You settle in, even though deep down this is not the way it's supposed to be. That's what daily aches and pains feel like. You stop expecting to feel good. You start thinking, maybe this is just life now. But it doesn't have to be. With Relief Factor, you can break up with pain, just like Anthony did. Anthony wrote to me, he said, Glenn, I was dealing with debilitating pain and fatigue. I've been taking Relief Factor for about 2 months, and now I'm back to running my business, fishing, gardening, and doing all the things that actually matter to me. This is why I endorse Relief Factor. It has helped me, and I know it's helping so many in this audience live their lives to the full potential. Is it your turn? Relief Factor, 100% drug-free, targets inflammation that causes pain so you can move better, feel better, and actually enjoy life again. Try the 3-week quick start. It's $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Break up with pain and get back to what matters. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF.
I'd like to tell you about a man named Phineas who as a child survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, Phineas is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or even leave his home to receive medical care. And when sirens sound and missiles fall, he doesn't have the time or the strength to reach safety. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to Phineas's doorstep, providing care that he otherwise would not receive, especially during a time of war. Phineas said, Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, and now again, they are helping me. As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, remember these precious children of God by lifting them up in prayer, asking for his protection, his comfort, and his peace. Stand with Israel in prayer by visiting supportifcj.org. That's supportifcj.org.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Here is another check of the roads on the tollways. Southbound 355, eastbound Reagan in both directions of the tri-state are showing tie-ups. The Jane Addams, though, that one is in good shape. On the Kennedy, downtown out to O'Hare, it's an hour while the outbound Edens remains wide open. Eisenhower Post Office to 390, hour and 10 with an accident at Cicero. Stevenson also 1 hour to Saba Lakeshore Drive to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. 30 minutes outbound Ryan Titan the Express Pershing to the Skyway. The Skyway eastbound a bit tight, 73rd off to Stony Island, and the outbound Ford, 115th down to Beaubien Woods. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 54. Tuesday will bring radiant sunshine and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to be outside with a high of 75. Tuesday night will feature a crystal clear sky with a low of 53. Wednesday is expected to be mostly sunny and warm with a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all guns. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
My next guest is somebody I have enjoyed reading. Very, very smart. I believe he has a master's from Northwestern. And he didn't have to take any sex classes because he got that later after his academic career. He is the public engagement manager at the Illinois Policy Institute. It's a very fortuitous time to talk to our next guest as Illinois passes $56,000 million budget. He is Dylan Sharkey. Dylan, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Very interesting. You know what's interesting about this whole budget is it hides the fact that the federal government gives $42.9 billion to Illinois, and it gives $42.9 million or billion dollars because it says it's reimbursing them for entitlements. And I have to tell you something, Dylan. I'm suspicious. I can't help it. I was born that way. I didn't even like taking a binky from anybody. I was very suspicious. When you think about it, it could be that the budget increased to hide the fact that that number from the federal government has never been greater. The federal government sends to Illinois $42.9 billion for Medicaid, which the illegal aliens get. The bulk of that transfer is social services, food stamps. I mean, it could be that Illinois is a welfare state to the tune of 60% of its budget, couldn't it?
Yeah, the process for them getting this budget is anything but transparent. Lawmakers are up until 4:30 in the morning. It reminds me of like college students who are cramming before a final exam, but instead of a chemistry class, it's $56 billion with $800 million in new tax hikes. And they do other things. They have time. There's other things they get to, like the day before, 2 days before, they passed a resolution declaring May 6th as Bacon Day in Illinois. I'm not anti-bacon, but I think there's just the flipped priorities there.
Well, Dylan, you can't win friends with salad. When you look at this entire aspect of what they actually achieve, what do they do for the rest of the 69 days? Because on average, they work 70 days a year. When you count their per diem, their reimbursement for gas and mileage on their cars, it's $128,000 a year for the representatives when the median income among single households where one person works is $43,493. I'm telling you, this to me is a backdoor Soviet state. This is a financial crime, and they're hiding the fact that they have no budget. They exist on loans, on high interest payments, and on welfare from the federal government. And if they don't, prove us wrong. Show me the numbers. Where is the bulk revenue in Illinois, because I've witnessed, 7 major businesses over 100 years, huge corporations get the hell out of there. Am I missing something?
In this new budget, there's even new sources of revenue that might fall through. I'll give you an example. The social media fee. They want to tax companies that have more than 100,000 users in Illinois with a monthly fee for each user, depending on the platform size. Obviously, YouTube, Facebook, talking lots and lots of people, lots of accounts. And they're banking on about $200 million a year from that alone. But there's been legal challenges in other states of a similar tax that have fallen through, gotten tied up in court. So if that happens in this case, if it doesn't survive, then you are, short another couple $100 million you have to go back to the drawing board for.
Well, the way in which they concoct this is a financial fraud in the first place. There is no company, no business, no prospectus in the country that could possibly get a loan or become a publicly traded company by projecting what revenue should be on the if-come of what they hope it'll be. And when you look at the way in which they concoct this, has any one of them, and I'm serious when I say this, has any one of them ever really run a business? Now, I know, like, Darren Bailey inherited the farm and was taught how to fill up loan payments and loan paperwork. But has anybody ever really built a business? And if so, does that account for the 3 Republicans screaming their head off to no avail?
Yeah, there's clearly a disconnect. You brought up the cost of living for the average person. It doesn't feel that way when you hear lawmakers talk about revenue and all this ways they're creative with getting more money, but they're never creative about spending. Going back to that social media fee, I think that was a politically strategic way to penalize young people, especially because they use social media the most. And that fee, that's for one company. So if you have, YouTube, Facebook, other companies, if you have 5 or 6, those will stack up, even if it's a small fee. And since younger people use that the most, and they vote the least, politically, it's of little consequence because, I'm going to upset people who aren't voting for me. Those are the people that I'm least concerned about in the short term.
Well, they do it because they can get the provider to perpetrate the extortion in the same way Xfinity does. To see it, Dylan, to see it in real life and to pay it in real life. Xfinity with Comcast and just like a basic HBO, whatever, in Illinois with the high-speed internet per house in my neighborhood, my old neighborhood, and I know because I pretty much gave everything to people I love, that's $300 a month. My same package in Florida, same package, is $80. So when you look at the fact they've turned Xfinity into the extortionists, they've turned the cell phone companies into the extortionists, they turned their gas stations into the extortionists. In that process has to be some pliability for people to seek rescue, because how in the world can they turn these companies into their tax collectors, right? This is what you know when you operate a retail business. You really manage the business. You have to sit down every month and send money to Springfield and the rest of it. They get an entire tax body. But these companies that are providing these services that they think they're going to tax, they have an alternative. They could just shut off the services to Illinois, can't they?
Yeah, and lawmakers are very strategic in the way they move around money. For instance, gas taxes. Gas tax money is supposed to go to fixing the roads. That's what we've always heard. But they have billions in dollars right now in collected gas tax money that's just not being spent on fixing the roads. There have been surveys on road qualities. It hasn't improved. It's lower than it was in 2015. So you're talking years and years of getting extra money from when Governor Dave Pritzker doubled the gas tax in 2019. It's been a few years since then. I wouldn't expect it to be better in a year because those projects take a long time, but it's been a few years since then, and people aren't seeing better results on the road, but they're seeing way higher prices at the pump, and gas taxes are a huge part of that.
No, what they do on the roads, correct me if I'm wrong. I drive a lot. I drove again. I've been back and forth for years. You see traffic cones, but you rarely see work. Has there been a study done on how long it takes the Illinois roads to be repaired? Or is it just an illusion of cones? I don't see much work being done. But then again, you're living in a city for the Jane Byrne exit ramp, which was drawn by an 8-year-old who had an attention deficit disorder. What did that take? 3 times as long as the English Tunnel, didn't it?
long periods of time. Even patience is a virtue, but that's pushing the envelope to say the least. I will say there's a bit of good news on that they are suspending the gas tax hike this year, come July 1st, which is good. Things could always be worse. We're already paying the second highest gas taxes in the country, and we have a sales tax on our gas on top of that. So when gas prices go up everywhere, it hurts people more here than it does in other parts of the country.
Well, it's the abused housewife syndrome, right? The abused housewife. She gets used to getting slapped 3 times a night. On the night her husband only slaps her twice, she thanks him. That's what this is, right? Because when you look at the levels in which gas is already taxed, the Illinois state government makes 300 or 600%, depending on how you count the taxes, more than the refineries make. Has there been no talk of any legal consequence of double and triple and quadruple taxation when you talk to this idea of gas? Because I believe it's an incredible slush fund that they really aren't showing us exactly how they collect it, let alone what they do with it, as you were talking about roads and the rest of it. When you look at the Illinois toll system, I mean, everybody knows this is the greatest scam outside of O'Hare Airport is the Illinois toll system and the taxing body that does it and the people who work there. Has there ever been any forensic audit by somebody who is not sworn to omerta by the Illinois Democrats? Has the federal government ever really looked at these leviathans of abuse on the honest Illinoisan?
Well, as you brought up on the first point, one of the reasons it's so hard is the lack of transparency, especially on the budget process when they do these things. A case in point, like today, they did it in the middle of the night. It was a very quick turnaround, so you have, oftentimes only less than a day just for someone to see the entire budget before it passed, and by the time it's passed, that's already too late.
Now that we know that the Illinois state rep makes 300% more than the average Illinois single-family household, median family household, and when you factor in what the revenue is, right? I always have had a problem, Dylan, and you tell me if my math is wrong. I did not go to Northwestern, and I say that I mean it. I think people who go there and graduate are very, very smart. But I also think they're very, very gullible in this aspect. How can somebody who makes all of their money from government and the cost of government ever be a taxpayer? That's right. Yeah, I mean, because it's garbage in, garbage out as far as the resources people are getting, and they're not seeing better services. I mean, I think these guys should really consider giving themselves $1.2 million a year. It doesn't matter. None of them are taxpayers. None of them ever pay for anything.
Yeah, I will say, one other storyline of this is what didn't happen over the weekend of the budget, and that was a deal for the Bears. Now, I will say, regardless of what would have happened had they actually gone through with something, it's fortunate they didn't rush a deal the way they do with other budgets, because we know they've done that plenty of times. Last minute, lawmakers don't even read every page of the thing they're passing through, and
how many can read?
Shoulder the burden.
Yeah. I mean, have we done a study? Yeah. I'm dead serious. Illinois is one of the highest states with functioning illiterate people. Did you know that? I mean, you look at the results.
Even if you're the best reader, they do it in a day. You got to read 4,000 pages.
I'm going to say 50% can't read. So I'm hoping that do they put it through their chat GBT? Are they using AI? Because if we could only get AI reps, we would save a ton of money with liabilities, costs, and pensions, and they could read. At a certain point, when you see this talk of the Bears, the premise is the problem. I mean, it's not just because I don't care. I mean, I don't think people who are adults should be watching sports to this level of insanity anyway, let alone taxing everybody across the board who has no interest in it. It seems to be an abuse of any taxing power or taxing body. And I think it would be a great benefit to the people of Illinois if the Bears moved to Indiana. But do you think it's just such a popular browbeat point that people will be more than happy to see them cut some sort of deal, knowing full well that the property taxes under J.B. Pritzker have risen 33% on average? 33%. The highest property taxes in the country now is Illinois. I learned that from your outlet.
Right, yes. And again, 33% higher for the same or worse services. If it was 30% higher and it was 30% better, that's one thing. You're at least getting more for your dollar, but people aren't seeing that. And it's good to see that they probably will come back over the summer. If I had to guess, for a special session, even though lawmakers have gone home, they can call a special session for this Bears deal in a few weeks or a few months. So it's possible that this is a to be continued and not like a issue put to rest. So
now that I know how smart you are, and I know how smart so many people how smart so many candidates were that are no longer candidates. What is the prediction with this massive increase in taxes? $800 million without a lot of specificity, and they're going to raise it on everybody, and everybody's got kids, and they say they stay for their kids. Do you think that maybe they went a little bit too far when they decided to attack what kids use the most, social media outlets? Because once the kids understand that these companies are going to stop offering this service, or that their mother and daddy are going to go broke paying it, the kids will be the first ones to say, let's get the hell out of here. Do you think that they've put together a proper forecast on exactly how many people are going to move in the event of all these taxes really kicking in?
No, I think it's a spreadsheet. Then at the end of the day, when they're in Springfield, they see numbers on a sheet of paper, and what that translates to is people I've known personally who grew up here, whose parents are here, and have made the decision to move to a different state with no expectation of ever coming back because of finances more than anything. And how can you argue with it?
Well, and the other side is when you look at the fact that Illinois is the leading state with the most counties that have ever voted for secession since the Civil War. Counties, 33 counties, I believe it is, it might be 36 by now, have voted and passed that they want secession. Indiana is not only going after the Bears, rightfully so, they're giving an outlet to the people who are persecuted under the Chicago Mafia Democrats. And they said, we'll take them. What would it take? Now, I understand there might be some ambiguity into what Pritzker's power is, but he is clearly a mafia tyrant. Can the federal government save those counties and really truly do what I hope they can do and completely redraw not just the Illinois map, but the American map? As all I know you're just the Illinois policy. However, this is a very interesting thing. And is there any scuttlebutt, aside from those 33 counties who have voted and recorded that they want to get the hell out of Illinois without selling their property? Is there any hope for the federal government to rewrite the Illinois map?
I think the hope for those parts of Illinois that feel left out is to take map-making powers out of lawmakers' hands. And that would apply to Congress, too, because they draw those maps as well. If you take it out of their hands and then our districts stop looking like shoelaces that have just been in the blender, then people would start to see more representation, and that would make life a lot easier.
So it could be that this is really quite an exciting time, because this kind of corruption, this kind of failure, this kind of inept attempt to govern and represent people, it's undeniable. It's never been more obvious that these are self-enriching, self-aggrandizing frauds. And this might be exactly what was needed for the federal government to say, you know what, we're going to take a real hard look at not just Illinois, but all of it. And we're going to really make a decision of if we're going to allow these states to be drawn up with their ambiguity that they were created with, when you have this many people who are really taking the benefit of democracy and voting against totalitarian corruption of the Chicago Democrat pretending to be the Illinois state government. This could be the precipice and the threshold of a real big change in America. And we've got just the right guy in Washington to do it, don't we?
I think Governor Pritzker, should more than anything, should lead the initiative like he did when he was a candidate. He seemed to have forgotten about that when he was running for office, or, a candidate the first time. I should say he's still a candidate now that he's running for another term. But back then, he was all about fair maps. He said he would veto any partisan-drawn maps, which he ended up not doing twice on two different occasions because they threw one out because it was illegal, so they had to go back. Yeah. And he did it again, so he doubled down on it. But I would say there's still time for him to do it. Lawmakers can do it well before the census.
There's two problems with that, Dylan. Number one, the Democrats who are financed by the property and taxes of the decent people will never secede. They never want to. They know they cannot exist on their own, so they won't do that. And if a Democrat's lips are moving, it's a lie, lie, lie. Come on, didn't you learn that at Northwestern? You're not married to a Democrat, are you?
No, not married, period. But, yeah.
Yes. You take this into advice, and if a woman is willing to kill her own baby, she don't give a rip about her husband. You put that in the book, will you, kid?
Well, on the political maps, I think Governor Pritzker should really keep that in mind in the next year. He's talking about federal issues all the time because his name ID is not as high as other governors. Seems to me like he has intentions of running for the White House at some point. So that's part of the other reason you see him talking about all sorts of issues is because he's hoping to shoot for a promotion, but he got to get better at the job period.
Well, he's got a big problem. Pritzker is Yiddish for punchline, and among the decent people in this country, J.B. Pritzker and the Pritzker family are a punchline. And if you could ever find out how many times Tom Pritzker went to Zorro Ranch, could you let me know there, Dylan Sharkey?
Well, if people are more interested in checking out our budget solutions, please, IllinoisPolicy.org is free, no paywall.
The best site in town, and I love you because you're smart and you're brilliant and you do this work and you do not charge, which means you're terrible capitalist. But I love the fact you're giving this information. So thank you very much, Dylan Sharkey.
Yep, of course. Happy to do it.
You too. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. If you're helping a parent or loved one move into senior living, you're dealing with a lot right now. Finding the right location, coordinating the move, managing their care, and then there's the house, often filled with decades of belongings and memories. The last thing you need is months of repairs, showings, and uncertainty about when it will actually sell. Here's how our veteran-led team helps. We listen to your needs first. Flexible closing date? We can do that. Extra time to sort through everything at your own pace? That works too. You keep what matters, family photos, heirlooms, whatever has meaning, and we handle the rest. For nearly 20 years, we've earned hundreds of 5-star reviews by treating families with patience and respect during life's transitions. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com. That's jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
It is that time of year again to save babies by providing ultrasounds with our friends at Preborn. You know how this goes. We've done it every single year at this time. All you have to do is pick up the phone and say, I want to provide a free ultrasound to a girl. Give her the chance to see the truth of what's happening in her body. Every $28 helps do that, saving one baby. $280 can do that, help save 10 babies. More does more. The phone number is 833-850-2229. 833-850-BABY. Join us saving babies with Preborn again this year. We're going to save hundreds of babies, one at a time, 2 or 5 or 10 at a time. That phone number again is 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or go online to 560theanswer.com/baby.
Baby. 312-642-5600. When we get back, I'm going to take your calls. John, you'll be first. Terry, Phyllis, hang on if you can. I understand it's been a while, but it's all worth it. After Mike Scott in the news.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, mainly clear in your forecast overnight with a low of 54. Iran reportedly calling off talks with the U.S., planning to completely block the Strait of Hormuz. Lawmakers from both parties are now raising concerns about what a peace deal would mean for the future of Iran's regime. A man and woman shot and killed early this morning in Bellwood. Police responded to reports of shots fired around 1:30 a.m. in the 1100 block of 32nd Avenue. Illinois lawmakers in scramble mode Sunday night into Monday morning in the final minutes of the legislative session in Springfield before majority Democrats passed a $56 billion budget that for now does not include a mega projects or Bears stadium bill. White Sox take on the Twins tonight. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business. It's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com. Steiner Homes, love where you live. Next news at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. Up next, a look at the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchak.
It's busy on the inbound Edens at 45 minutes. Outbound trip looks good. The Kennedy 1 hour downtown out to O'Hare. Eisenhower 40 minutes to Wolf Road with an accident at Cicero and 1 hour post office to 390. On the Stevenson, that's also an hour due Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. And southbound I-55, there's an accident on the exit ramp to North River Road. Outbound Ryan, 35 minutes. Very heavy along due Saba Lakeshore Drive, north and south. Tri-State North, a crash at the Bensonville Bridge, blocking the right lane southbound. A crash cleared at Willow. Heavy either way. Also heavy eastbound Reagan and southbound 355 as well. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Craft University and the Shaun Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 54. On Tuesday, expect radiant sunshine and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to be outside with a high of 75. Tuesday night will bring a crystal clear sky with a low of 53. Wednesday will be mostly sunny and warm with a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com, to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Vintage toys or model trains in the attic? Sell them for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
The truth is that for too long, America had been asleep. We mistook comfort for strength. We substituted efficiency for resilience and consumption as a measure of prosperity. We told ourselves that so long as goods were cheaper overseas, it did not matter whether factories went dark in Michigan, Ohio, or Pennsylvania. We assumed that supply chains would always function smoothly and adversaries would always behave responsibly, and the invisible hand would correct vulnerabilities that too few in public life had the courage to confront. And while we reassured ourselves with those assumptions, risk accumulated all around us. Somewhere along the way, we lost sight of a foundational principle that previous generations understood instinctively. Economic security is national security.
Never been higher. Not just the stock market. New businesses expanding. I understand you don't feel it. You're in a Democrat state. But there are 11 states right now, not one ran by Democrats, that make up 70% of the new massive privatization of an economy, not to mention the Gulf of America and the insane amount of new oil rigs setting up. Things are just getting started. John, Hendersonville, Tennessee knows. He lives in one of those states.
Shaun Thompson. I used to live in Illinois, but then I got smart because I heard this guy on the radio screaming about moving out. And
you're welcome.
Actually, I'm in Naples, so every time I'm by seats at the table, I look for you or Dan Proft, and I figure I'll say hi, maybe buy you guys a drink or something. But
I don't drink, but I'll take a
anything...
steak, medium rare. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, they got some really good meat down there. But before if I get cut off or anything, the only thing I really need to say is that your call screeners are amazing. The girl I talked to me like a human being, and you should be proud of the group you have around you. It's really good.
That's my family. That's my honey bunny. She is my family. My daughter. Yeah, she's my girl. Not really my daughter. Family. I adopted her. But go ahead.
You did. You picked well. You did very good. My wife asks me sometimes, why do I listen to you? Because you're so loud. And I say, it's ICS. It's irate common sense. You need to make T-shirts that say that and put something on the pocket that says, if you're not yelling, you're not listening.
Well, and, the other thing, too, John, I've been mad since the first time I achieved a number in my earnings that I wanted to, and the government took 50%. Now, I was 19 when that happened, but I have been mad ever since. And the idea that they extort us and they enrich these sloths and they have this scheme to enrich their friends, all in the name of building a mafia that extorts the honest guy, I'm pissed off ever since. I have a plan, because this isn't the deal.
I have a plan for the sloths. The people who take advantage of the system, who make all the money on pensions and whatnot, there should be a law that if you're making all this great money and you're making off the taxpayers and you've got these sweetheart deals, you should be stuck. You should have to be in the state to collect. You should have to live in Illinois. If you're a Chicago employee, you should live in Chicago to get your pension.
And do you want to know, normally, like capitalists like myself and you, we are hoisted by our own petard because we believe in freedom, right? A capitalist, somebody who believes in American economics, private economy, we ultimately are property rights people, right? So then the theory is, well, it's your money, you could do what you want with it. But what I like about what your idea is that the money wasn't made honestly. The money wasn't paid out honestly. It isn't a system of capitalism. In fact, it's not even corporatism. It is a financial fraud. There is no pension fund. There is no money return on investment. There is nothing but a promise of omerta. That's it.
It's also with politicians. Last time I checked, to be a politician when the country was first founded, it was voluntary service. And it was a short term. You didn't want to make a career out of it. Now we give away careers. Tell me a Durbin, Pelosi, name one who doesn't enrich their entire family. The person who walks their dog is a millionaire now because of the corruption and how they know how to game the system. And I don't hate the player because I hate the game, but the corruption kills us because it's taking all of these billions of dollars and just squandering it, where our country, which is great,
I'm going to tell you a great
story. The best country in the world.
I'm going to tell you a great story. I have a very, very dear friend of mine, very dear, and his father was a fireman for years, so many years, in fact. When the mayor was walking through the firehouse, they were having a birthday party for him. And he said, boy, oh boy, he said, I'm going to say his name. Buddha, how old are you? And he was having his 70th birthday party, still working. But you would never know it if you looked at him. And I used to live on the 6th floor in Elmwood Park. And on the 6th floor in Elmwood Park, they would set the alarms off. The old ladies would cook and they'd burn it. The guy who knocked on my door every time to make sure I was okay was his father. And he wouldn't take the elevator. Run up the stairs, okay? So the mayor says to him, what are you doing here? He says, well, he had been married a couple times. He may have had a young child. He said, I'm working. What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm working. He was the hardest working fireman you could ask anybody in Elmwood Park. The mayor said, "You're too old. You got to retire." He never wanted to retire. I have no problem with his pension or the firemen and policemen like Buddha. None. God bless you. Whether you're in Chicago or Bell, I don't give a rip. You're fine. But you know the percentage of people he is when it comes to government workers? A third. The rest of them are Daley's cousins who have no idea where the frack they were supposed to go. Now those, John, those are the scumbags that should fear me if they see me and see the table, because we ain't in Chicago. And I love ear-slapping the taste out of Democrats' mouth, John. Thank you very much for the call. Don, Southside.
Yes, I think the Bears got to remember one thing. If it's taken this much trouble and effort to get the state of Illinois to do something to keep them here in Illinois, they ought to say, heck with this, I'm going to Indiana. Because you know what's going to happen. Once the Bears agree to stay in Arlington, then Illinois has them by the short hairs, and they're going to screw them over on something else down the road, putting a road in or some other kind of taxes. The other quick thing is you mentioned about police, cops, and firemen. I love them. The state, the pension guys who are robbing the joint is the guys like you work for the county or you work for the city and the paper pushers in the back offices. Those guys that sleep at their desk all day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'll tell you the thing, Don. Let's not now. Jobs don't have virtue; men do. The guys who are waiting for Brandon Johnson's kid to figure out if he wants to go by his girlfriend's house and play tiddlywinks and drive him around, and Ed Burke and Mike Madigan, they could kiss my ass too. You know, I would say the other thing, but they'd be the first one on the knees. Thank you very much, Don. I agree with you. But if the other thing too is football. Can't hit the quarterback. Why the hell is anybody watching it? Patrick, Shirakistan. Patrick. All right, we're gonna get back to Patrick. He's a city pensioner. Always paid his money. I get it. George, Naperville.
Shaun, let us never forget the words of the first Mayor Daley. If you can't help your sons, who can you help?
And who else was going to help him? There's only one that could read. He's the one without hair. Terry Chirac.
Hey, Shaun, now this is 1976 plus or minus a year. Daniel P. O'Brien, the youngest elected Illinois state senator, showed me in his office a law book. And he had a bill that was passed to protect the CTA passenger. That wasn't the purpose of the bill. The writer increased Chairman McDonough's CTA's salary to $25,000. That was the whole purpose of the bill. So when you guys talk about transparency, the whole goal is to hide it, not to let you know what's going on in the game.
It's a grift. It's a grift. There's no question it's a grift. And you know as well as I do how many ghost jobs. Is it 1,000? Is it 1,000 ghost jobs? So that's a little bit of a problem. Now, that doesn't attack everybody. It doesn't. But it attacks the system itself. Patrick, Chirac.
Yes, I'm a pensioner from the Chicago Fire Department. And I work my ass off. And I paid every dime that... Every time they asked for me to pay, I pay. And the pension was doing fine. And then all of a sudden, King Daley said, man, I need a pension holiday. And they gave it to him. And then he goes, well, it was nice not paying into the pension. Give me another pension holiday. And they gave it to him. And then he let his rat nephew invest money from our pension. And he lost it. And then he let him do it again. And then our pension has never recovered since then. So people who want to rip the police and fire for the pension, don't look at us. Look at the guys they manage.
And Patrick, listen, if you listen to me, I'm not ripping the individual. But here's the other thing I will say.
I'm not saying you are. I've heard it my whole career.
Well, here's
you and your pension, you and your pension.
Listen, here's the other thing.
My ass off out there.
Now you know where I'm from. I'm from Melrose Park.
It's like my old boss said. If people complain about the pension, tell me when you got a wall in your office where you put the names of dead guys who died in the line.
I understand, but I totally agree. Okay, totally agree. But here's the issue with it: if it's not based on that, if the politician can break the covenant, and it is no longer based on a return on investment, what is it? It's not a pension anymore. It's an extortion tool, right?
I mean,
so now here's the other thing. Hold on, I'm gonna point out something else. I'm gonna point out something else, Patrick. Now my neighborhood, Melrose Park, going back 35 plus years ago, I hung around with all older guys. A buddy of mine becomes a fireman very young, and he's very, very smart. He gets on the pension board, and he starts to talk about where money should go, And he takes a vote, and they vote, and they start buying stocks. Microsoft. They start buying stocks. Amazon. They start buying stocks. So now these individual firemen who are smart are starting to steer their pension, and their pension is more than funded. You know what the state of Illinois did? Took it and put it all together with all the ones that didn't. Now, how is that right?
Here's another beauty.
Here's the thing.
Back in
they run on a scam, Patrick, and they use guys like you. They use guys like you, and the fact you went to work and you paid your money, and they use you as the shield to really hide the or let us not see the exposure of the daily nephew. That rat pig should be hanging from his feet in the cell.
How about this for a scam? The paramedics were initially in the municipal city workers pension. We sued to get in the firefighters pension, and we won. They wouldn't take our money. Millions of dollars. They said they won't take our money. So we sued them. We knew we were going to win. Anybody who had an ounce of brains knew we were going to win. We won. The pension board spent millions of dollars to fight off us taking our. They spent millions to keep from taking millions.
The money you put away.
It's insane.
Had you put it in a Vanguard, had you put it in a Roth, had you been able to direct it, you'd do better, and you wouldn't be attached to these scumbags.
They won't let you do it.
Now we break the system.
In the pension and the story.
Yeah, and then we could talk about the money bunglers who are the same ones.
Like you said, it's the politicians' slush fund.
And then you have the same people who abscond with the money. These are the guys that are selling you the bonds and making citizens who can never default pay 5 times the VIG. I see you, Mesro. Scumbags. We'll be back.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Concordia University Chicago is home for the premier conference for Christian laity, the 2026 Issues Etc. Making the Case Conference. The speaking lineup includes Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Molly Hemingway of Fox News, Megan Basham of The Daily Wire, and Aaron Hawley of Alliance Defending Freedom. Making the Case, Friday, June 12th and Saturday, June 13th at Concordia University Chicago. Learn more at issuesetc.org. Issuesetc.org.
AM 560.
The Answer. You know, it's interesting. That's why I really mean it. I want to tell people, take control of your own money. Have you, if you would have had a Roth IRA and a simple fund, you don't even have to pay attention to it, a Vanguard fund. There's Vanguard funds right now that are 15% return. And there are so many different ways. I'm going to take advantage of a friend of mine who is a sponsor of the show. But I am telling you right now, the difference is all these firemen work their ass off, right? They collect the money or they retire and they pass away. What does their wife get? 50% if she's lucky? If she fills out all the paperwork right? When you have your own money, your wife gets it all. Your kids get it all. You can only run a scam so long, and this is a scam. If you care or you want your own money and you want it to grow and you want it to be structured right, there are numerous different ways to set it up, depending on your age. But anything in a fund that is returning 15% a year, compounded, you don't need anybody. I'm going to give you the number. Call them, 630-864-6711. The number again, 630-864-6711. You have your own money. You don't need these fracking scams. And when you die, your kids get it. What's not to be excited about in private economy? But private economy only works if the scams do not outweigh the growth of the private economy, which means in Illinois, in New York, in New Jersey, in California, in Philly, all around, Pennsylvania. This is all the same scam. It's all the same scam. And the reason that they have this sanctuary policy, Bulldog, is to hide the financial crimes. Let me tell you something. If you think for one moment that, what's the one with the lipless governor, CIA agent? Virginia doesn't know right from wrong. All you have to do is listen to them. Here they are. Here's the Virginia simpleton.
He says 3 out of every 4 people arrested in Fairfax County are illegal aliens. They're asking you to discontinue sanctuary city policies. Any comment along those lines? Governor, any comment on the DHS request?
Well, she dodged, and here is exactly what DHS is requesting. Of the 4 defendants in Fairfax County murder trials this year, 3 are illegal aliens. Governor Spanberger must end her sanctuary policies that allow these illegal aliens onto our streets and work with DHS to protect the citizens of the country.
But each one of those illegal aliens, she can steal more money from the federal government. She can claim Medicare. She can claim Obamacare subsidies. She can claim all social services, as it's unequivocal. They now have illegal aliens that have found a multitude of different ways to get more than just licenses and kill Americans.
ID heating up on voter ID heating up on Capitol Hill. A jury just convicted a woman in Massachusetts of voter fraud. Prosecutors say that she also stole more than $400,000 in federal benefits. White House correspondent Aisha Hasni reports live.
Multiple IDs, multiple streams of what is supposed to be safety net money from Medicare to Medicaid to Social Security. Nobody caught her? Nobody caught her in all these Democrat enclaves.
We know that people from outside the state have been interfering in the protests and escalating them. 5 of the 6 people arrested last night by state police were from outside New Jersey. And
that's Sherelle. So you want to enforce the protesters can only be from the states. But the fact that you're protesting for illegal aliens who are outside the country you're okay with, that's how dumb you can be and be a Democrat. Maybe it's because they're all ugly women and there's only one club that accepts them all, the Democrat Party. We'll be back.
Picture this, bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, 2 outs, and the IRS is on the Hill throwing nothing but heat and chin music. Back taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens. You're down in the count. Time to call in a pinch hitter. At PJN Tax Solutions Group, we are your pinch hitter. We deal with the revenue officers so you don't have to. PJN Tax Solutions Group is a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. When the IRS tries to steal home with your paycheck, we throw them out. When they load the bases with bank levies and wage garnishments, we strike them out. Strike 3, you're out. It's a full count and the game is on the line. Are you stepping up alone or are you bringing in a professional? Call PJN Tax Solutions Group now, 630-415-5296. Again, 630-415-5296, or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available, financing is flexible, and at Air Right installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
Let Cole Digital turn your outdoor space into the ultimate entertainment setup. With a 75-inch SunBright outdoor TV that can stay out year-round and great sound throughout.
like planter speakers on the patio, high-quality rock speakers that blend right into your landscape, or bronze garden speakers that blend into the environment. Our technicians will dig a hole and install an in-ground subwoofer for incredible bass and the best in sound quality. We also install outdoor rated access points for Wi-Fi coverage throughout your yard, and cameras that let you keep an eye on everything with motion-activated recording. Tour our Cole Digital Design Center, 15,000 square feet of audio, video, and great design ideas. Cole Digital is family-owned by conservatives that share your values, and we're based right in Frankfurt. Visit Cole Digital today and schedule your consultation. ColeDigital.com. That's KOLE digital.com, or call 815-469-2000, and we'll bring the showroom to you. 815-469-2000. Cole Digital, what smart living is all about.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-550-7800. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-550-7800. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-550-7800.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states. Not available in California.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Policies are created to be frauded. 82% of all government spending is on autopilot. No president, no Congress, no Senate can stop it. It has 3% baseline kickers. But then somebody said, no, I think it's only 78%. You know who knows? Our next guest, Doctor of Economics, handsome son of a gun with a Van Dyke, E.J. Antoni, after Foxweiser.
Tapping the brakes. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Justice Department says it's placing a hold on a controversial fund meant to compensate President Trump's allies who believe they were unfairly prosecuted for political reasons, complying with a court order.
Last week, a federal judge in Virginia ruled the fund must be paused while she sorted through legal issues. The DOJ posting on social media late this afternoon, quote, this fund was open to anybody who was so weaponized, targeted, persecuted, whether they were Democrat, Republican, conservative, independent, or otherwise. The department will abide by the court's ruling. Now, the fund was born after the president decided to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS after a former employee there leaked his tax returns.
Fox's David Spunt. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer.
This week, Senate Democrats will push legislation to ban this slush fund and ensure no president can ever do this again.
The Associated Press is reporting President Trump is reconsidering putting the fund in place following backlash from Republicans. And the president sounding optimistic on an Iran deal, telling ABC News it could happen over the next week.
Today here at the White House, President Trump spent his time in meetings, including calls with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the leaders of Hezbollah through intermediaries.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the White House. The president posting the call was productive, and Israel and Hezbollah have agreed to a partial ceasefire. The Senate back in session today, though not much progress has been made on a border security funding package.
That's $0 for a physical presence at our nation's border. $0 to deport criminals who have made their way into our country illegally.
Majority Leader John Thune accusing Democrats of wanting to open borders, which he calls indefensible. America is listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Downtown to O'Hare on the Kennedy, just under an hour, while the outbound Eden still looks great. Eisenhower, the crash at Cicero was clear, so that looks better. It is an hour, though. Post Office to 390, and the Stevenson 45 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Southbound I-55, the off-ramp to North Avenue, there is an accident there, so watch out for that. Dan Ryan out, a half-hour stop-and-go express. Pershing out to the Skyway. It remains busy on DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State either way. Northbound, a crash at the Bensonville Bridge in the right lane. As for the Jane Addams eastbound, tightening up into the Tri-State, Reagan and 355 both heavy either way, and northbound Route 53, a crash at Dundee. This report is the service of Fox Valley Coins. Currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date proof and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 54. Tuesday will bring radiant sunshine and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to be outside with a high of 75. Tuesday night will feature a crystal clear sky with a low of 53. Wednesday is expected to be mostly sunny and warm with a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
You ever been in a really bad relationship? You know, kind of wears you down, right? You settle in even though deep down you know this is not the way it's supposed to be. That's what daily aches and pains feel like. You stop expecting to feel good. You start thinking, maybe this is just life now. But it doesn't have to be. With Relief Factor, you can break up with pain, just like Anthony did. Anthony wrote to me, he said, Glenn, I was dealing with debilitating pain and fatigue. I've been taking Relief Factor for about 2 months, and now I'm back to running my business, fishing, gardening, and doing all the things that actually matter to me. This is why I endorse Relief Factor. It has helped me, and I know it's helping so many in this audience live their lives to the full potential. Is it your turn? Relief Factor, 100% drug-free, targets inflammation that causes pain so you can move better, feel better, and actually enjoy life again. Try the 3-week quick start. It's $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Break up with pain and get back to what matters. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
Now it's true. The debt is higher, the spending is up, and my calculations have it at 82% of federal spending. 82% is on autopilot, which is why when you hear that.
Now we'll audit all 50 American states looking for potentially massive fraud in the billing of autism treatment. This is happening now amid a recent explosion in spending on autism services. North Carolina alone apparently saw an 11,000% increase in the last 4 years.
Illinois gets $21 billion a year just from Medicaid from the federal government. Total revenue to Illinois, $42.9 billion in entitlement reimbursements. How much of that is fraud? Well, we know Illinois. All of it. My next guest knows that the debt is going higher, the spending is going up, and exactly what the percentage is that's on autopilot. And the reason is he is wicked smart, a doctor of economics, a handsome devil, and one of the few economists that could ever pull off a Van Dyke EJ and Tony.
Shaun, it is great to be back with you.
And you're in West Texas right now, so those definitely aren't firecrackers. You start hearing popping noises, it's on between the Islamo-Nazis who are trying to take over cartels and the Texans. So you serpentine with that fantastic luxury vehicle I hope you're driving. But when we
serpentine, Shelley, serpentine.
Serpentine. When we talk about spending, you must, in my opinion, always remind the people, it doesn't matter who's in control of the House, who's in the White House, who's in the Senate. I believe 82% of this money is on autopilot, and nobody can stop it because the fix is in. The policies are meant to be frauded, to reimburse the states that are most corrupt. What do you think?
Yeah, Shaun, I'm so glad you pointed out the autopilot part of this problem, because that really is true. Because we've gotten rid of things like zero-based budgeting, because all of these different departments and programs no longer have to justify every fiscal year how much they're spending, what are the things on which they are spending, et cetera. It does just become like this self-licking ice cream cone, and it just grows and grows. And then you throw the interest on the debt on top of that. A lot of times that doesn't get counted in your obligatory spending, but it should, because you can't just default. And all of a sudden you realize that this is a very serious problem. And we're already actually then at a point, if you do the math, where you can see that we literally have more in mandatory spending than we do in revenue. In other words, it's that downward death spiral.
Well, it's a functioning bankruptcy, right? And this is why the debt is always going to be the issue, because somehow we've allowed these. If you pretend they're economic illiterate, they have an out. But really what they are people who have crafted policies to enrich themselves, whether we're talking about Ayanna Pressley, Ileana Omar, Nancy Pelosi, or some of the senators. And what I'm enjoying right now is Chris Murphy, who is a particularly weird-looking dude. Do you know Senator Chris Murphy? He's got that comb-over 60s and that little sugar in the tank thing going on. And Chris Murphy was on one of the Sunday shows, and not many people watched. In fact, they're at their lowest viewership in recorded history on the Sunday shows, including 60 Minutes. And Chris Murphy was saying he's outraged, he's flummoxed, because Donald Trump will not spend the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been allocated towards Ukraine. When I say good, stop it all. And this means over what he has control over, he's not spending money. He's fired the federal government employees to lowest record since 66. He's doing a lot of very good things, but because it's on autopilot, he can't really stop it, can he?
Right, exactly, Shaun. And this is where it goes back to what we started with. It has become a huge problem where so many of these programs and so much of the spending, basically Congress just authorizes it, and then the president can't simply stop it. And that includes even if you're doing something like a construction project where the project can actually be completed ahead of schedule and under budget. If there's money left over, believe it or not, sometimes the executive is actually obliged to spend the money. In other words, to waste it, because the project's already completed. There's nothing left that they actually need to spend the money on. And this is where things like rescission packages are so important, and we need to be doing more of them. And frankly, shame on the Senate, including guys like Murphy, who have blocked previous rescission packages and attempts to claw back some of the unnecessary spending. And that's exactly what it is. It is unnecessary. We're not just talking about projects where the Biden administration, signed into law, let's say, that money had to be spent or a project had to be completed. Fine. Maybe the project shouldn't have been done in the first place, but whatever the case, it was done. And now it has been done under budget by the Trump administration. And so there's money left over. There is zero reason why the taxpayer should be obliged to throw good money after bad and should be obliged to literally waste their hard-earned dollars simply because the Democrats don't want to let a rescission package through so that we can prevent all of that waste. That's an absolute disgrace.
So some of the things that I see very, very, very positive moves is the destruction of the eco-Nazi fraud that has been perpetrated on the American people. Trump has dismantled it to virtually nothing. It's the only thing he's done better than that is seal the border. But what he's really done with the elimination of that Chevron doctrine and what he's done with the EPA and the way in which they've pulled all of this nonsense has really forced the UN and these other countries to realize you're not getting the funny money, because the way in which they perpetrate the scam here in America through entitlement subsidies and entitlement reimbursements, that was the foreign policy when it came to green energy boondoggles. So we've shut that off completely. We don't really know the total that'll save America, but I have to believe it's in the hundreds of billions, if not $1 trillion a year, because the green energy movement that thrived under the dimwit and diapers has been brought to a stop. So do we know how much money he saved us with just not participating in the greatest con next to Obamacare?
Well, we know it's over $100 billion thus far, because we can look at things like the infrastructure bill, for example, where you essentially had government subsidies for these different loans and these different projects that could not on their own make money. That's why they had to be subsidized. And as soon as you take those subsidies away, the projects fail. Well, by ending those subsidies, what happened? You instantly saw this huge decline in the number of projects that were getting started, whether it was solar, wind, or any of these other boondoggles. So again, the result has been very, very clear, and that's just looking at a few provisions from a single piece of legislation.
Now, some of the things he's also attacked were the executive orders that had a tremendous amount of money being spent from the Biden administration. Now, granted, he didn't sign it. We don't know what the hell he was doing. He was on a changing table with his little skinny legs in the air. But by him negating the executive orders by Biden, and by him revealing, I don't know if you're paying attention to this, but the amount of information coming out about just the prima facie evidence of the election theft, if he could in fact establish the fact that Joe Biden was illegitimate, theoretically, he could reverse all of the obligated spending, couldn't he?
So this is a really, really interesting question, Shaun. And if we look at some Supreme Court precedent here, obviously there's never quite been a case where a president who was thought to be legitimate was then determined to be illegitimate. But we do have other examples that I think you can extrapolate from. And in those different instances, the courts have been mixed. When they recognize that something was illegitimate in terms of law or process, procedure, et cetera, it basically depends on how difficult it would be to undo. In other words, if it would be too terribly messy to try to undo something, the courts have tended to rule that we need to just let it remain as is. But in the future, you can no longer do X, Y, Z. However, in those instances when it would be relatively easy to undo those measures, those were the times when the court said, okay, now it needs to be undone. The government actually needs to fix whatever the original problem was. I think a really good example of this was when the court ruled that income taxes were unconstitutional before the Constitution had to be changed to allow for them. And in that instance, the court said, all right, this one particular type of income tax has to be refunded. However, all of the previous iterations of income taxes...
Oh, West Texas hates E.J. Antoni's cell phone. So we will effort to get E.J. Antoni back. And do you want to go to break, Squirrel, or would you like me to play more economic skullduggery? All right, we'll go to break. We're gonna effort to get E.J. Antoni back in West Texas as he's traveling. We know he wasn't kidnapped by Islamo-Nazis. He's armed, and he hides it in his little vest pocket. We'll be back as soon as we can get a hold of him.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 30% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. 800-LIFELOCK. 1-800-LIFELOCK or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
For controversial Fort Mill manufacturing facility, Silfab Solar is facing lawsuits alleging it did not pay what it owes its contractors. The case comes nearly 3 months after a pair of chemical leaks that caused a temporary shutdown at the solar panel plant and led to new
billions and billions and billions of dollars stolen, frauded in the name of green energy, solar and wind. EJ Antoni, are you all right?
Shaun, I am dodging the gunfire as we speak. No.
Very good, very good, very good. But you're driving through Texas, which is ironically one of, if not the greenest state in the entire country. And the reason is so many of those oil companies were in on this fraudulent scam. So we are seeing a readjust of the way in which energy companies are starting to realize they have to actually produce energy versus just produce the scam of wind and solar, which Texas did very well. And these other states are being made aware of it because the money's dried up. This is all good news, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And ERCOT, which is the essentially the distribution, the electrical distribution grid down here in Texas, they have a couple small sections of other states, but it's primarily just Texas. The very, very painful lesson that they have had to learn multiple times now has been the fact that when you have severe weather, like when on the rare occasions it actually gets cold in Texas during the winter, things like solar and wind simply do not produce. They do not keep up. And a lot of the state has actually literally run out of energy. The electricity has gone off because they can't produce enough energy. They have become so reliant on unreliable sources, again, like solar and wind, because they got tons of energy credits for it and they got tons of subsidies from the Biden administration. But the fact is these things don't work. And the really crazy thing was one time when we had a particularly bad winter storm down here, what actually happened was the power went out to the natural gas facilities that were providing gas in the major pipelines throughout the state. So not only did a lot of homes lose electricity, but they also lost pressure on their natural gas lines. So those poor folks couldn't even use a backup generator in order to keep their furnace running, and people literally were sitting in homes that were below freezing. I mean, it was such a total disaster. But look, this is all the result of getting suckered in to again, these crazy solar and wind schemes. That's what they are. They're schemes by these government subsidies. Government subsidies are just like taxes. They provide heavy distortions to the market, which would otherwise provide for an efficient allocation of resources.
T. Boone Pickens was explaining this as he lost $1.5 billion in the wind business because he was one of the rare independent oil men who made a fortune and then thought he was going to be the new wind baron. And he really revealed just how fraudulent and how ineffective and how costly it really is. But California operates in a different world. And what I'm going to ask you is I don't know the answer to. We now know that California has their own regulations, but they're really laws that nullify American foreign policy law. California is the only state in the country that insists on importing oil directly from Iran. And when you look at the insanity of that oil-producing state, which people forget, it was one of the top 3 oil-producing states. This is self-induced failure, self-induced costs, self-induced penalties on people who are honest and trying to pay for energy. Can the federal government rescue California? Do the states have enough latitude to create foreign agreements with nations that have been declared by our federal government as enemies of the state? I'm very confused on how California could demand it imports oil from a 48-year enemy of America, specifically naming Iran as one of its oil importers.
Well, Shaun, I think this is definitely kind of the modern-day nullification crisis, almost like something similar to what happened under Andrew Jackson all those years ago, where I think this administration is going to need to take states like California to court because these states are not allowed to nullify as they say in the law. They're not allowed to nullify the laws and the dictates of the federal government. Now, look, I am all for federalism, right? I want the states to be laboratories of democracy, and I want the federal government to be small, to be limited, and to be constrained so as not to trample on the rights of states and of citizens. But when the federal government does exercise legitimate authority that has been delegated to it by the states cannot then turn around and nullify it. But that's exactly what California has been doing through all of their crazy energy policies. And that includes things like emission regulations, and it also includes things like oil imports.
The reason I ask you this is not just because of oil imports to California, but Illinois now has this new idea that they are going to sequester their citizens from the benefits of social media companies through the threat of taxing them. So Illinois has decided we are going to tax social media companies on behalf of the users who get the use of these social media companies for free. So now they're going to make them pay a tax. Can the federal government save Illinoisans from the bankrupt, failed, fraud state economy of Illinois? Can a state tax its citizen? And I think these companies should simply refuse service the way they do Iran, right? I mean, you can't use it in some of these totalitarian countries. They just shut it off. What do you think the play is for states that are operating under fraud, that sequester the federal government from looking at them, as Illinois passes or California passes laws where you can't have investigative journalists, they can't put video that they film on air. They passed that law last week, and Illinois is soon to follow. Do you think the federal government will prevent these corrupt, bankrupt states from taxing their citizens to use services that are free from the provider?
They certainly should, and for two reasons. One, in certain instances, this actually it's likely that there are violations here in terms of interstate commerce, Shaun, which the states are not supposed to be controlling. That is under the purview of Congress, so it should really be, again, Congress making the rules. But the other issue here is that you can, as the federal government, tie federal dollars to a lot of different types of behavior. There's a reason why all of the states have the same drinking age, for example, and it all has to do with federal highway funds. In other words, if a state were to turn around and say, we're lowering our drinking age to 16, you better believe the federal government is going to shut off highway funds. In fact, that's already in statute, and it's why nobody does it.
Well, it's fascinating to think that the federal government had the power to save all these citizens who live under these Democrat fiefdoms from the abuse that they've faced, whether it's taxing gas 5 times from the time it's refined to it hits your tank and all the other things that the Democrats have perpetrated. And then you could really end that sanctuary nonsense. And the reason these states have sanctuary laws isn't because they're magnanimous. It's because they want to use more head counts to steal more money from the federal government. I think that the only reason we know this and we're talking like this is because of Donald Trump. Had Jeb Bush won the way they wanted, nobody would care and the problems would be 3 times as bad. Do you feel that way?
Oh, my gosh, Shaun, can you imagine whether it was Jeb Bush or a Mitt Romney or a Mike Pence or a Nikki Haley? Can you imagine having any of these conversations? Absolutely not. Instead, we'd be in all kinds of conflicts around the world. We'd probably be in a kinetic war with Russia at this point. I mean, it would be an absolute disaster. For all his faults, Donald Trump is head and shoulders above any of the alternatives that we've had in terms of Republican presidents over the last several years.
Please clap.
Now, one of the things I want you to be aware of, because I know what a data bug you are. I am in the middle of an incredible expose on this scumbag, Jeb Bush. Did you know? You remember? I was always off put by old man Bush and his love of Bill Clinton. And when you look at the Bush brothers, most people don't know there's 4 of them. And when you look at the scandals that are Marvin, that are Neil, and you look at Jeb, did you know that he worked with the Clinton Foundation with the money that was absconded in Haiti that nobody talks about? And it was right here in Miami where he partnered with another scandalous pig who had these panels that they were going to put up temporary housing. And you're talking, EJ, billions of dollars. Jeb Bush he was on the board of the company, sat on the company. They steal the money for Haiti. Jeb Bush gets the contract with it, and none of the stuff gets built. And that guy who owned that company that put Jeb Bush on the board, he went to prison for tax evasion, and Jeb Bush ran for president. When you look at this, there's a reason you should never, ever, ever vote for an establishment Republican again. And I think Donald Trump has changed the mores of citizens of America. I don't think they're ever going to tolerate a Mike Pence, a Bush. I really think this is the beginning of a fantastic renaissance in American economy, of private economy. I feel that way, and I know Heritage is on the forefront of it. Look into that Bush rat bastard and the Clintons. They were tied together like a braid of corruption.
Shaun, I promise I will. You bet. I will tell you what, real quick. I know you got to go, but one of the things that will turn you into a cynic very quickly is reading about all of the intelligence agency connections between both the Clintons and the Bush families. It's insane how deep that rabbit hole goes and how tightly connected those supposed political adversaries were.
Yeah. How about Marvin Bush was the head of he was involved, the CEO of the security company that had the security on the World Trade Centers during 9/11. You know how many people know that? Me and you and the listeners. And that's it. It's amazing, the corruption. That old man Bush, I'd like to dig him up and throw him in an alley. Thank you very much for always making time for me.
Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
What if everything you've been told about government, healthcare, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Shaun Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Shaun Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at ShaunThompsonShow.com/book.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank. AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Monday, June 15th at McCray Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Nolan Webster and by real estate broker Ed Dream at leavingil.com.
So it finally happened. I knew I was bound to. I'm on a couple of accounts for Goldilocks that I have family that took advantage of calling 708-889-5600. They mentioned my name, and they took advantage of the genius of Goldilocks. Well, one of them this weekend set the alarm off. The app is amazing. You could put as many people as you want as contacts, whether you're related to them or not. And if your home gets broken into, my phone made a sound I didn't know it could make. It was like the old submarine diving. It was crazy. I thought I broke something. It turns out I was also able to disarm it as I was getting text messages also from that family member. Hey, I accidentally set the alarm off and I put the wrong code in. I shut it off. I didn't have to give the name of my first dog, first grade school, and the first car I drove. It's a fantastic app. And I could turn on all the cameras, all the lights in the property, check all the doors and windows to know there was no real threat. That's just some of the convenience of Goldilocks with residential. It's the same whether you have retail, whether you have a condo, and if you have a warehouse and you run a business out of it, you can give access to specific people. You could shut off that access instantaneously. It's not only alarms at GoldilocksInc.com, it's doors. Security doors. You don't have to be just another victim in another Democrat fraud area that has released the predator on society and then lies about the crime statistics. Protect your property at GoldilocksInc.com. Absolute peace of mind. Expert comes out. They've been doing this for 40 years. They tell you exactly where the weak spots are. Cameras, alarms. Never ask, is a door closed? Is a window open? Is the alarm off because a knucklehead relative put the wrong combo in, or there's a break-in? You know it all from the app. The best alarm, and I've had them all since the time I was in my first property. GoldilocksInc.com, 708-889-5600. Tell them you heard about it on this show. 3 months free monitoring. When we get back, 312-642-5600. I'll take your calls and comments after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, we see clear skies and a low of 54 overnight. Iran reportedly calling off talks with the U.S., planning to completely block the Strait of Hormuz. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle have raised concerns this afternoon about what a peace deal would mean for the future of Iran's regime. Illinois lawmakers scrambling Sunday night into Monday morning before passing a $56 billion state budget in Springfield. State Representative Adam Niemerg talked with reporters this morning just outside the state capitol.
In-state tuition for illegal immigrants. In-state tuition. So now illegal immigrants in the state of Illinois can have in-state tuition.
This morning, the House officially adjourned before taking a final vote on the newest version of a Bears stadium bill. Former Blackhawk great Dennis Holt, who starred alongside his older brother Bobby with the Blackhawks, died last Friday. He was 81. White Sox and Twins on the docket tonight. The news, a service of Unbound.org. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org. Next news at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. Up next, a look at the roads. In the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jill Urchak.
Beginning with the outbound Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, that's a 40-minute ride inbound trip. There is an accident at North Avenue in the left lane. Hour going in from O'Hare and the Edens is fine. Eisenhower crash inbound at Higgins, 50 in from 390 and 45 minutes on the reverse. Stevenson, 28 minutes out to the Tri-State 35 to 355, while southbound I-55, the off-ramp to North River Road has an accident on that ramp. Dan Ryan out at 20, tighten the Express 51st to the Skyway. Accident northbound Tri-State, 2 right lanes at the Bensonville Bridge. All the tollways showing delays. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Prof University and the Shaun Thompson Show when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 54. On Tuesday, expect radiant sunshine and pleasant conditions, making it a great day to be outside with a high of 75. Tuesday night will bring a crystal clear sky with a low of 53. Wednesday will be mostly sunny and warm with a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
The law group you know and trust, Nauman & Associates, is expanding into commercial litigation. When disputes can't be resolved, get the strategic guidance from a litigation lawyer who will fight for your rights. Attorney Richard Cannon brings both strong courtroom and dispute settlement skills. We believe most cases can be resolved without costly courtroom battles, but we prepare as if a trial is possible. When your company needs to stand its ground, contact Nauman & Associates in Elk Grove Village. For a consultation, visit nalawgroup.com.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's Joint Arthritis Treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that with no high-pressure sales and thousands of five-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Old porcelain signs, gas and oil collectibles, collectors are waiting. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
It's a meteor shower, sonic booms across America. It's like the beginning of War of the Worlds, squirrel. Like to kick that alien's ass. And if they do eat Americans, remember that in the War of the Worlds, they kept eating the human beings? Eat a Democrat, I dare you. Let me know how that goes. Talk about agita. Oh, that'll upset your stomach. You ate a crook. You ate a thief. Start with the congresswomen first.
This is a Fox News alert. It looks like Ilhan Omar isn't the only Millionaire Squad member. Now, our team dug into open secrets and financial disclosure reports. What we found is that when Ayanna Pressley was elected to Congress back in 2018, she had a negative net worth. You fast forward to today, she's worth $1.3 million with assets worth up to $8 million. Now, that's a massive increase in just 6 years, especially for someone on a $174,000 congressional salary.
Well, she's from Illinois. They perfected stealing in the name of government. Here's a California scumbag, $170 million. Traded every day he was in Congress. He amassed an incredible fortune of inside trading information.
When it comes to the L.A. race, Karen Bass and you see Spencer Pratt, what do you think we're learning about how Californians feel about the incumbents in general?
Look, I think that there is was a lot of hurt and anger after the fires. My view is that the blame of that really needs to go on Donald Trump. They still owe the state $50.
The blame of it is Donald Trump. Rogue kind of Democrat scumbag thief, inside trader with a very bright future among other scum. Scott, Willowbrook.
Shaun, how you doing today? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I couldn't wait for it. I hate the weekend.
Yes, it's good to have you back. It's always good to have you back. It seems like the week's normal and the weekends are very abnormal, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Listen, your current guest was talking about, how hard it would be to reverse some spending bills that were created under an illegitimate president like Joe Biden. Since, control that election. But, I feel like this is like something they'd learned a little bit from Barack Obama, pushing the health care through. This is like an art that he's put through, like starting 2008 up to now, that he just pushes stuff through because he knows the courts will have a hard time clearing it once it's in. And that's what he did. He made it like his signature thing that he did. And he picked it up with Joe Biden.
It's even more nefarious. You're right, number one, but it's even more nefarious.
Absolutely.
The courts are packed with loyalists to the Leviathan. The courts are packed with loyalists to Bill Clinton, to George Bush, to Barack Obama. And let me explain something to you, brother. They are all attached. That's the game of heads they win, tails we lose. How many people really know Barack Obama's history? Anybody? He's not from Chicago. He's from Indonesia, then Occidental, right? California, Hawaii, New York. He's not from fracking Chicago.
We are also honored to be joined here today by another champion of education reform, somebody who championed reform when he was in office, somebody who is now championing reform as a private citizen, Jeb Bush. And we are grateful. We're grateful for him being here. Aside from being a former governor of this great state, Jeb, of course, is best known as the brother of Marvin Bush.
Marvin had all security contracts with the government, had the security company that was in charge of September 11. Neil was embroiled in a banking scandal in the 80s, of which the federal government bailed out $1 billion. Did you ever hear that? These Bushes are so fracking interwoven with the Clintons, the Obamas. Why else do you think that George, that queen, is friends with Bigfoot Michelle? Come on. It's one giant fracking fraud on the American people.
Well, you can clearly see it. They all hang out. They're as cozy as lice. They have no problem standing together when they take pictures and stuff. They like each other. They're in on the same BS. I mean, it's very clear.
Just since George W. Bush and the so-called financial collapse, where 9% of people were delinquent on their mortgages, 30-plus trillion added to the debt, and they're all rich.
Yep.
Every
one
of them.
On that too.
Oh,
yeah,
it's just the scum of the earth. But it's a new day. Thank you very much for the call, Scott. It's a new day. They don't understand it. We, the people, are sick and tired of it. And the administration that knows it and is doing something about it is Donald Trump.
You deny that you got $2 million from health care? I can go down the list here.
Mr. Secretary, that
Emden
is
gave
not...
you $140,000.
Mr. Secretary, it is my time.
Pfizer gave you $102,000.
Madam Chair, I am asking to be able to ask a question here. I do
I'm
not
just pointing out your record. Someone from the healthcare industry gives you $2 million. What do they get for it? What do you
I
give
do
them?
not oversee I do not regulate.
You have jurisdiction.
I do not regulate.
You have jurisdiction.
I do not
$2 million
regulate the FDA.
to
Let
put
me
your
just
face
say
on
this.
TV, to
You
buy
need
steak dinners,
Mr. Secretary, listen,
to go on vacation.
listen to my
That's
point
what
here.
you do. Welcome to MAGA. Welcome.
Be nervous, whore. You've been looking ridiculous. People have been ignoring it forever, transgendering Dutch boy. Be nervous, Senator Murphy, Ro Khanna. Be nervous. And that's Shaun Duffy, who was a congressman. He knows better than anybody. And as transportation secretary, what was the first thing he did? You illegal rat pigs who have driver license, you should immediately lose your license. But yet, the Democrat areas, they sneak them through, no matter what the cost of American citizens.
Breaking news this morning, the bus driver headed to Charlotte and involved in a deadly crash that killed 5 people and injured dozens of others is now facing charges. 48-year-old Jing Dong was...
Jing Dong? Something wrong's cousin? This scumbag, non-English speaking, non-English reading, killed Americans again. This is from this weekend.
Arrested Saturday and charged with 2 counts of felony involuntary manslaughter. U.S. Transportation Secretary Shaun Duffy also says Dong does not speak English, which is...
Oh, the donger! You don't speak English? Do you know what the donger had on when he killed Americans?
What was he wearing? Well, he was wearing a red Argyle sweater and tan trousers and red shoes. No, he's not retarded.
No, he's a bus driver with a license where he can't speak English, can't read English, an illegal alien. Sue everybody. Thank you, Shaun Duffy and the Trump administration. 312-642-5600.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky. The donga need food.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 30% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. 800-LifeLock. 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
Twitchy.com brings you the latest in social news, highlighting and reacting to important conversations from America's most prominent journalists, politicians, and celebrities. Twitchy's kinetic group of editors deliver fast and amusing content around the clock to tell you who said what in global and political news, sports, entertainment, and media. If it's news, they're on it. If it should be news, they're ahead of it. Stay connected to the newswire of the 21st century with Twitchy.com. Twitchy.com.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker and my new co-host,
Amy Jacobson,
on AM 560. We wanted you to know that we have a special show every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer. It is Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker and
Amy Jacobson.
It's every Sunday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. 2-hour show, 2-hour radio extravaganza. Amy, we're going to tantalize the listening public and the listening private with all kinds of retirement planning information. So tune in at AM 560 Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
AM 560.
The Answer.
You're sick, Squirrel. You're sick. And you're going to get us in trouble. You really are. All right. I'll let you play the co-pilots. There were 3 other bus drivers that could have driven the bus that day for You Take Your Chances Bus Company.
They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee Fook, and Bang Ding Ao. The NTSB has confirmed these are the names of the pilots on board Flight 214 when it crashed.
And the alternative bus drivers for You Take Your Chances bus fares. I buy a ticket, I dare you. I hope they sue that company into in complete competence. You realize how many people this guy potentially killed? They're still getting numbers. He ran right into them, never hit the brake, you moron!
Is a violation of federal law. He'll have his first court appearance after he's released from the hospital.
None of this should have happened. If only we would have stood on some principle and audit the fracking vote. It was obvious there weren't that many morons. Outside of these Democrat areas, this country's relatively smart. But in these Democrat dungholes, they'll vote for practically anybody.
The DNC and Perkins Coie law firm and everyone aligned on the left decided to file briefs in our case, and the court let them do that. And they argued against our complaint that alleges all the election fraud and multiple federal constitutional claims that arise from that invalidate.
But they had their grift. Their grift was the simpleton scumbags, the Somalians, the pirates, and all the phony services, and that's Maine, Ohio, California, with the other cult of morons, protected status idiots that all are multi-millionaires. But the real grift, Squirrel, the real grift The real grift was that eco-Nazi bulldog.
Now this, the United Nations has withdrawn their worst-case conclusion on climate. Now, they had been thinking that temperatures would go up by 8 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of this century, and that the polar ice caps would melt completely. Daniel Turner is with us this morning. I thought that UN declaration to abandon that forecast, I thought that was a very big deal for climate science.
It really was. There is no climate science. There's graft. There's paid for speculation, fear-mongering. And the whole time it was like the outcome of the 2020 election. They refused to show us the evidence.
Among the most egregious offenses was the refusal to share the data upon which the computer models of projected future climate change were based. It's critically important for 2 reasons. One, the research is publicly funded, and therefore the results of that research should be automatically open sourced. And 2, the models are serving as the basis for the implementation of policy proposals, often with draconian consequences for society.
How much of that exists in these Democrat dunghole areas like Illinois? How much, and not just taxes, in subsidies and fraud, financial crime, are Illinoisans paying in the so-called budget? $42.9 billion comes from the federal government. Illinois should be thrown into receivership. It's bankrupt. And the political crooks that pretend to represent you, they only pay themselves.
In a professional sports arena.
This is similar to what's happened in Indiana, a framework only. The Illinois House did not take up the Senate changes. Here's what the Bears said just before 5 o'clock this morning. Quote, "We will finalize our evaluation of both Arlington Heights and Hammond and remain on the late spring, early summer timeline that we previously communicated."
Now, one of the listeners who I love to death, and they comment in the comment section on social media, Facebook, and the rest of it. She said, I like sports. Listen, this is not liking sports. They're taking advantage of your affection. They're raping the entire communities and state financially in the name of this company that a few can afford to even go and see it. I don't think you can see a bigger financial distraction and fraud of why all of these areas steal the money with impunity. And they get away with it. There seems to be no scandal big enough to take down the reality of how much money is being stolen in all Democrat areas.
Is this the end of Gretchen Whitmer? We have a political earthquake happening in Michigan as Governor Gretchen Whitmer is facing the biggest scandal of her political career. It's been revealed that her office helped facilitate a $20 million taxpayer grant to one of her best friends and political donors, Faye Baydoun, who...
You know what that's called in Illinois? Monday! Every day they steal $20 million. We'll be back in 21 hours to drag these cockroaches out from under the rocks.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank.